hour to hour and a half. Also very favorable for heavy rainfall due to training storms. Here's the point in all this, that even models are looking at this going, yeah, this one could be bad. So let's be taking this extremely seriously if you do live here in New Albany and locations there in Union County. I got to track this one up north real fast as well because it looks like it has organized a bit more there. Let's just get a quick storm track on it. Up here about to cross I-22 south of Hickory Flat. There are a couple areas in this line closer to Hickory Flat where we're watching this, but this one near Ebenezer Church at 635, Community Church 639, Graham Chapel at 643 there, Palestine Church 644 and 646 there as well, another church in the region. But this is likely a strong tornado ongoing here in northwest Pontotoc County moving toward New Albany. I cannot stress this enough. If you know somebody that lives in New Albany, stop now and give them a phone call. If you, I'm just going to stop. I'm going to be quiet for a moment here as I take the picture there and put on those tornado safety rules and tell you this one could be bad, real bad, okay? So if you know someone who's ahead of this, please take the picture, send them a shot of it, and let them know. I'm going to point right to New Albany there. Obviously, a lot of folks before New Albany, like Flatwood at 638, within the next minute to 2 minutes, it's over top of you. But New Albany, 649, let's adjust it, new scan. We're going to steal some time from you there. This is likely a strong tornado at this moment. So New Albany, somewhere around 648, 647, depending on which side of town we're talking about there. 644 to 649-ish as it moves through town. This is a strong tornado in all likelihood. It could be bad. Looking for debris on this, on the tornado debris mode here, not as well detected at this instant, but near the Flatwood community, near County Road 47, everything about this says this is damaging winds. Let's say best case scenario right now. Best case scenario, and this isn't a tornado, right? Best case scenario, this is still probably 80, 90 mile per hour winds here that are moving over top of Flatwood toward Bald Hill. They'll be moving toward New Albany. So best case scenario, we still have tornado-like damage out of the winds with this. We've got to take cover, though, if we are in New Albany, because this is a classic, strong, and potentially deadly situation if not taken seriously. I'm going to go wider on the shot here. Everything about this is kind of the worst case scenario we expect out of a storm like this today. It has perfect inflow on the front edge here, right? Perfect air coming in that's unstable. It has the perfect air balancing it with the rear flank downdraft around the backside. And so unfortunately, everything is structured just right for this to be bad for not just now, but for a while in the future. So I'm going to get a longer track on this, and this is a very long track. And so now, if you know folks who live in Dumas or up in Biggersville, near Booneville, Rienzi, Corinth. It's not going to hit all those folks, obviously. It's not going to hit everybody from Booneville to Corinth. But the angle is close enough that it's going to track through that corridor there, as you can see, somewhere around that 7:13 to 7:30 time period. So that really 15 minutes there, 7:15 to 7:30 or so, it's going to be going through there. But in southern Union County, this could be a deadly tornado if not taken seriously. It is either... I mean, listen, I have not been able to confirm tornado debris on this on a good shot here, but I honestly think that just honestly has to do a little bit. Yeah, I can. I'm a liar there. There's our tornado debris right there along the Pontotoc and Union Pontotoc County line right there, right along County Road 47, which looks like straddles that county line, is where we have that tornado debris on what's an extremely strong wind return on Storm Track Doppler radar and the exact spot we would expect to see it. So Bald Hill community, Ingamar, obviously Flatwood, we need to be in that tornado safe place. This could be a deadly situation with a strong tornado. There's very large hail on the backside of this as well. But Bald Hill, this is coming right for you. County Road 87 in the path of this. It looks like this is passing over the Little Tallahatchie. Pretty much now, that would be right about there, right? So this is going to be passing over the Little Tallahatchie. So we at least have a couple minutes here where it's over something a little more open. Obviously, those houses on that road there, not open. But everything about this is just not a good situation, unfortunately. Because over the Flatwood community, I'd say that qualifies as tornado debris at least. And this is wrapping around to try to do something stronger. I'm frankly surprised we haven't seen a stronger tornado debris signature on it, but I just unfortunately think yet is the word on this. So cannot stress this enough. You have to be in a tornado safe place if you live in New Albany. Current time is 6:39. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside our meteorologist Gabe Maynor tracking a tornado producing thunderstorm moving into New Albany. It's our only storm of concern at this moment. I wanted to go wide and show you that because we're going to have to drill in and stay on this for a while. So New Albany, cannot stress this enough that this is a tornado on the ground moving toward town. Bald Hill, Poolville, Mississippi Highway 30, all in the path of this. And hail, where you see this flashing right there, could be talking about hail in excess of 2 inches as well. Here's why we don't want to wait New Albany to be in that safest location. And I'm going to put up the unsafe places here for a second. I'm going to get New Albany to stay on there. And I'm going to put the storm track on here as well. Try to kind of layer all of these things on at the same time. There's going to be some big hail with this as well, and you have to be in that tornado safe place now. I would not wait to see if this does something more. Let's see if I can drag that down so we can see New Albany on there at the same time. Well, New Albany is showing up below the track there where that dot is. So obviously that's Midtown New Albany. So when you see that New Albany time at 6:49, that's the middle of town. Southwest portion of town there, we're talking obviously before that, within really the next 5 minutes or so. And obviously Midtown New Albany, we're only about 8 minutes away. This has all the writing on the wall of something bad. So let's make sure we're not in cars, trucks, or manufactured homes. There's the list of storm shelters. The reality is we're too late to be getting into a car, because where is the number one place we shouldn't be? A car or a truck, right? You're most vulnerable out of any type of way you could take cover in a car or a truck, so we don't need to be in those at this point here. But I put on that shelter list because I know there's some folks downstream of this that might still have some time. And for you, that's where we still have a little bit of time. I do think we're continuing to see more indications of tornado debris showing up here on Storm Track Doppler radar close to the Bald Hill community. Again, this is the Little Tallahatchie River right there. Let's look at debris mode right there. We're showing that near Flatwood. There's Bald Hill. That's County Road 87. Looking at rotation that is likely a tornado ongoing, where you see that circle there on Storm Track Doppler radar. And I do believe we've had a debris signature the last few minutes here. There was one right before that there. So I will say one indication there is that this is potentially heading a little bit more of an straight northeast direction as opposed to east-northeast. So the south side of New Albany in particular, more in the path at this moment. But let's be clear about something. The way strong storms like this typically work is, they kick the tornado out like this and then they try to curve it up, and that's relative to the track. So while it might be heading a little bit more this direction now, as the tornado matures and eventually the channel of air that comes in here, what the inflow channel gets pinched off, it can pull the tornado north on its track. And so while it's heading toward kind of the south and east part of New Albany at this point, it would be very reasonable for it to pull back northward at some point in its journey. Now that pull northward could happen farther south, but certainly all indications are that this is a damaging storm still and could be a significant tornado. As you can see, there are multiple places in here where we're showing, again, that very strong wind, including a place where we have tornado debris that's still being detected on radar there, right over top of Bald Hill. So again, that return you see over Bald Hill there, County Road 101, the intersection of County Road 87. Now this is Ingamar there. I know we have a lot of folks there that live in Ingamar that watch us. Even some former employees here at WTVA. Hopefully they are in that safest place. This is, again, right now, a little more east of north. It's County Road 94. At the intersection of Mississippi Highway 15. We need to be in that tornado safe place there. County Road 86, County Road 92, and County Road 88, all in the path of this. This next scan will probably be here at the extension of that road. Let's get exactly what that road is there. So we have County Road 94. So the next time I get a scan here, whatever this tornado is probably going to be right about there, over top of County Road 94 and County Road 86 here in Union County on the northwest side of Ingamar, moving there toward County Road 90. Now again, I'm being very precise. The reality could be that I'm being too precise, and the reality could be that I have two circulations here. I have another one here. It does not perfectly line up with some things, so I have what would look like debris showing up. I also have, again, the open area there. I think that's not it. I think it's still solidly this one to the east. And unfortunately, we'll get a new debris scan in here in just a moment that updates this. But Ingamar, I'm praying that y'all are in your tornado safe place here. Small windowless room where we can wrap up in blankets and pillows, put on a helmet to protect ourselves from debris, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. I'm going to go back here and we're going to spend some time again on the debris mode, again right over where we expected it. And now that debris, that tornado debris and that tornado is likely moving there over top of County Road 86 at the intersection of County Road 92. This is Union County that we're looking at here. This is south of New Albany that we're looking at here and approaching Mississippi Highway 15. Doppler radar indicated a tornado doing damage at this moment, approaching Martintown. And locations on the south side of New Albany. As I pull that off, again, New Albany at the top of your screen there. And I know for sure this is a tornado. And I think this is in the open area there. I don't want to trust my think. Are you okay with that? If we, hold on, let's see here what we got. Pick from Pont, okay. So let's go and pull that up on, do we have it on 3? What do you have it on? It's on 3. It's on 3, hold on here. So we believe, hold on, you talking to M.Cam?
No. Oh, wait, I apologize. It's on Apple TV.
Okay, let's pull up. This is the tornado. Likely a shot of the tornado there that was sent to us. So that is what it looks like. So now you don't need to see it and go to the porch. But if you're in New Albany, if you're in Ingamar, we have to be in that tornado safe place, a small windowless room to wrap up with blankets and pillows. I'm going to track both of these areas. I believe the south one of these for sure is a tornado. And while it's just a strong enough return up here as well that I think it's what we call side lobing, but the reality is I'd rather take it safe and track both those. Again, so you can see Ingamar, it's over you now. Martintown, it's over you in a minute. And as I kind of bring down that shot there of the tornado that was shot there from Pontotoc looking back toward it, as you can see there, we're looking at Glenfield at 6:50, and obviously New Albany around the 6:50 time period there as well. But I mean, the south side of town, this is a tornado. This is, I mean, on the northwest side of Ingamar, a tornado right now. So unfortunately, 2 areas of significant circulation, one of which I believe is probably still a tornado, or at the very least, best case scenario, 70 to 80 mile per hour winds right here on the north side of Ingamar right now. So 2 areas of significant circulation, and we just need to be inside. And making sure that we are sheltering with as many walls between us and the outside as possible if we're out here in Union County. Let's reset things here for a second. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside our meteorologist Gabe Maynor looking at rotation on storm track Doppler radar that is indicative of at least one tornado here near the Ingamar area moving into the south side of New Albany. As you can see at the top of your screen, the designation by the National Weather Service. So this isn't the WTVA 9 News Weather Authority. This is the National Weather Service looking at this. And when you see this pop on the screen, that is their designation. Large tornado, considerable damage possible. So our assessment is similar as well, which is that this is likely a tornado still at this moment. Do you still have it up on Weather 3 there?
It's on Weather 3. That's Blue Springs looking west.
So this is Blue Springs looking west, and this is looking into that thunderstorm as well. This is that rain trying to wrap around it there. New Albany, of course, would be right about there. And so that is one of the areas of circulation showing up. A lot of cloud to ground lightning. We will have a shot generally toward it. It's a little ways away. But we will have a shot toward it. And so as a result, I'm going to leave that small on the screen for a moment here. Dare I say that that person right there is doing the right thing by getting out of the way of this and waiting. If you know somebody who's traveling along I-22, they probably ought to be doing the same thing as well, because that shot, Blue Springs there, looking up toward New Albany, and this is going to be making impact in one form or fashion or another in New Albany within the next few minutes. And we are just hoping and praying that this is not producing tornado damage at this moment. We do continue to get pictures coming in. We'll pull up those pictures from the storm chasers on the iPad there, if we could, of some of the damage, so we can show that in a minute here, but we're going to get this through New Albany first. So, looking at this in New Albany, we're going to bring that camera down again. the area where we've previously had some tornado debris, I do not show as much out here toward 15, but I do show a sharp area where this is rotating back in. So while I cannot guarantee this to be a tornado at this moment, there's more than enough evidence that says that if this is not producing a tornado, and that's a huge if, it could be producing one soon. So we are hopeful that, again, this is going to lift, but on the west side of town, still some strong rotation showing up there. And then north of Ingamar, strong rotation as well, still on storm track Doppler radar. And both of these areas are moving there into the New Albany area. Let's look from the Memphis radar for a moment, see if it gives us a better idea. It does not. So let's stick with the one that we've been rolling with to this point here, which is from Monroe County. And certainly indications that this could be a tornado still occurring, moving into the New Albany area. So our thoughts, our prayers are with those folks in New Albany now as this kind of moves in. Still some questions as for sure whether or not this is producing a tornado, but certainly it is still strongly rotating. And the south side of town is where the area that's previously produced the tornado is moving in there. So that's the Highway 15 exit, the high school, right about there. This is just rotating a big way right over top of New Albany at this moment here. So lowest 4 of a sturdy structure where we have to be. North Haven, Baker, Union Hill, Pleasant Hill, and Calville, all in the path of this area of rotation on this that could be attempting to produce a tornado. We're going to bring up that camera again from this would, again, looking northwest from the Toyota plant. This is that big, heavy precipitations kind of wrapping around our view there. So as we shrink this for a moment, shrink this back down. So this is that big red you see there. That is that curtain that you see wrapping around. So unfortunately, if we're seeing a tornado, it's in this, somewhere in that there. So largely this tornado has been wrapped in rain and not visible to the naked eye. And so I think still very near that intersection of I-22 and Mississippi Highway 15 where we could potentially still have a tornado on this. And then an area of strong circulation right over top of the Highway 30 exit there in New Albany. Next scan is, of course, going to have it. You can see just from there, it's now north of I-22 at this instant because it's on the right-hand side of it there as we look northwest along I-22. So let's widen this for just a moment. Again, tornado warning has been extended for northern Lee County. That means here in just a moment that you will hear the tornado sirens likely going off for folks in and around Lee County here fairly soon. I do want to look back to the southwest, make sure there's not something else that we're missing in this. And actually, real quick here, there's a couple other little areas of circulation back on this as well. Let's get some storm tracks on those. I know we do have some first responders out there trying to pick up after some damage that's already kind of come through some of those spots. So let's assume that that could still be an issue there. Let's get a longer track if it will give me one there. And so I'm going to take down our camera because it's no longer needed at this point because it's showing that that storm has now moved north of I-22 in New Albany. This is another area of circulation near Denmark. Again, moving maybe a little more toward Blue Springs and Beacon Hill, all that direction there. Let's go ahead and look in a little closer here to the New Albany area again. And Maddie, you're going to have to tell me where we're at with that shot, where it's at. Okay, we will, and give me just a minute here and we'll take a look at that. So we're over top of New Albany with this circulation here. And again, the latest wind mode has one of those things where we're getting the radar error, unfortunately, and that's not a good thing because sometimes that means something worse has happened. Yeah, but it's north of I-22, right over top of New Albany. This thing is just rotating and rotating and rotating. So best case scenario, it's just rotating. Worst case scenario, we've had a tornado move into part of town right now. I don't have the clearest of analysis to show that at this moment. But again, radar is just one tool in our toolbox, and we need to be assuming that this is damaging because all indications are that it still is and could still potentially be a tornado ongoing at this moment in the New Albany area, pretty much right over top of New Albany. So thoughts and prayers with those folks. Let's go a little wider for a moment. Let's get a longer track on this. And we're going to look from a different radar. We'll go back there again to Monroe County because, again, this is taking on an odd shape at this instant where this is extending much farther out and left kind of a really just the television station as we're going in and out for a moment. Hopefully. We might be about to lose power, so here's the deal. If worse comes to worse we'll have Facebook Live going. We do have backup generators here at the TV station, but I know sometimes that can knock out the internet in this situation as well. So we're hoping that that wasn't some kind of significant transmission line that just got hit that was causing us some power outage issues there. Sometimes that happens. So New Albany, that's obviously a concerning factor for you as well, because, I mean, obviously it has been as this tornado's been going over you. Let's reset here for a moment. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside our meteorologist Gabe Maynor. Information coming in from the North Mississippi Storm Chasers. Gabe, at least some reports of damage from around the area. What can you tell us as of about 6:54, almost 6:55?
So getting a lot of reports from Colby talking about trees down on Highway 6 near County Road 431. County Road 94 has power line down. Yalobusha County has a good bit of damage when it comes to trees being down, and lots of pictures associated with that. I'll pull it up here real quick to just show you guys what we're looking at. But this is in Yalobusha County, just getting a look. You can see police on the scene trying to clear this as soon as possible, but just a very active scene. And as you can hear, tornado sirens going off here at the studio. I do want to say real quick, talk to Lafayette County. Damage on 1500 block, Highway 6 East. No injuries. That's great news in this case. Damage to roof structures, and they're still surviving after what was an intense storm moved through earlier today.
Okay, that's our meteorologist Gabe Maynor there. Reports coming in that this potentially could be producing some debris once again here on Storm Track Doppler radar. Let's look here, and we'll put it on our most sensitive mode, and perhaps near Union Hill Road there. Such a dirty velocity look on this. Let's check from the Memphis radar. See if we've got a better look at that. And let's look for the debris signature there. Difficult to say at this moment, but I think there could potentially be the next scan some debris showing up on this. So again, Calville, we need to be in that tornado safe place. If you live north of 348 and near Mississippi Highway 30 in New Albany, we have an area of rotation that could potentially be a tornado occurring at this moment. For some house cleaning here at the television station, this is going to stay north of us. So at the TV station, this will stay north of us. That's why we are not going to imminently take shelter. There are other storms that we're going to monitor, but at this moment, we don't necessarily have to take shelter here at the television station from this storm. But the circulation moving through the New Albany area. Hey, Veronica, have you heard from anybody back there yet?
Not any, no damage or anything like that.
No damage so far?
Not leave anywhere.
Okay, so but everybody's still good? All your people are good? Okay, just want to double check. Same with you, Maddie. All your people good? I know your people more Calville. Okay, absolutely. When they come out, let me know what they find out. I appreciate that. So this moving toward Calville along and just north of Mississippi Highway 30, an area of rotation that could potentially be, hold on. Yeah, could potentially be still a tornado ongoing here in Union County. Radar is not clear cut on this, but I still show one area near where it shows Baker up there north of Highway 30. This little blip there could still potentially be some tornado debris on this north of County Road 246, south of Pleasant Hill, southwest of Calville. So again, this is just about at that curve between Calville and the Calville and New Albany area, moving toward the northeast. So you need to be taking this storm very seriously. As we've talked about over and over again, radar is just one tool, and just because it's inconclusive does not mean that this is not producing a tornado. It very well could be. So now Calville, Locum, Molino, all in the path of this tornado that potentially could still be ongoing. So we're looking at Calville at 7:01. Current time is 6:58. And by the way, if you've heard the tornado sirens behind us, the folks at Lee County E911 sound the sirens when it's anywhere in the county, north to south. And the reality is that we need to be on high alert because there are other thunderstorms out there rotating that will affect other locations within the county here fairly soon. And the northern portion of the county involved in this here, especially when you get closer to like Locum there and some other locations. Pine Grove, we showed about 7:11, Mount Hebron about 7:13, Paul's Chapel at about 7:16, but Calville 7:01, Pleasant Hill 6:59. basically over those locations right now. Doppler radar indicated rotation that could potentially be a tornado at this time, moving into and through some of those spots. As you look at the southern area here, you can see a new severe thunderstorm watch coming out just a moment ago there. That's kind of what I was alluding to. The National Weather Service there in Memphis putting this out with rotation detected as the tag, one of those areas of rotation that we have been watching previously. Looking at the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar, some pretty intense wind returns showing up on this as well. That's out in the clear air just ahead of it, but a couple little notches that we're watching. So we're going to track that whole line there. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. We're going to track that whole line through Pontotoc all the way through Tupelo as well as it moves northeast at about in the neighborhood of about 50 miles per hour. We might want to go ahead and check that speed again on this. So that put Takapola, again, second time we've had something right near you, at 7 o'clock. Randolph at 7:06. Pannell at 7:11. We're looking at Pontotoc City Lake 7:16. Pontotoc proper, of course, not showing up in that list. We'll get you in just a second. Tupelo at 7:37. Verona at 7:37. Eggville at 7:44. Mantachie about 7:50. We're going to back this up. We're going to force it to give me Pontotoc on that list. Pontotoc at 7:16 there, so same time as Pontotoc City Lake when it showed that a moment ago.
I would say 45.
45 on that? Okay, so I was going a little fast. We'll come back to that here in a minute. I was going a little bit fast on that. So Calville, this is basically on top of you at this moment, and Baker, an area of rotation that could potentially be still attempting to produce a tornado. This is my weather call coming in, and I'll let it handle the Lee County folks. Hello?
This is WTVA Chief Meteorologist Matt Lobhon with a weather call mobile notification. The National Weather Service has just issued a severe thunderstorm warning for within 1 mile of your smartphone's current location. Severe thunderstorms can produce dangerous lightning, large hail, damaging winds, and very heavy rain that can cause localized flooding. If you must drive your car, do not attempt to drive through water covering a road. If possible, seek shelter in a sturdy building or stay in your car.
For the water part. We need to be in a sturdy structure, though, for the tornado part here, where we think is still possible over top of the Calville area, that we need to be in a sturdy structure there as well. We have not had tornado safety rules up here in the last few minutes. We need to be in a tornado safe place in Calville, in Locum, as this is pretty much tagging right along Mississippi Highway 30 in the northern and now approaching eastern portions of Union County. So definitely watching that closely. I want to look at a couple other circulations showing up here just southwest of that, because we do have, again, kind of one area we know has produced a tornado and a couple other areas of significant interest kind of coming in back on the backside of this as well. So I'm going to go back and forth here on precipitation, back to wind a few times to see which of those is capable of what. Again, it's possible that one of these could spin something up at some point here in the future, meaning it's possible that we need to be obviously in that tornado safe place. Still, I would say I don't think we can come out of that in New Albany, just because I think we have a couple other areas back to the south and west that are moving in. Let's get a loop on this here. Let's get a look at it. 1, 2, 3 areas there of additional rotation showing up on here, which are going to make sure Ecru needs to be in a safe place, and Bald Hill once again, and Ingamar, and other locations. So Takapola, north of Thaxton, Bald Hill number 2, and then Calville are 4 areas of circulation on the leading edge of this that we need to be very, very careful of. Let's go ahead and go to our meteorologist, Gabe Maynard, for a second here with video out of the New Albany area. Gabe, what have you got?
Well, I do want to say my in-laws and my family, and they were all in shelter, but they were actually off closer to Ellistown, looking back towards New Albany. And I'm going to ask that we can either pull it up on Cam 1 or on Matt's to show this real quick. But basically what we had was that rotation moving right through downtown New Albany. Well, this is just the east of it, and if we look over time, and it zooms in at times, I'm going to try and just drag this a bit. But you can see off there in the distance, that lowering on the tail end of this cloud, that's New Albany right there. As it moved through central portions of Union County, you can see it's hard to see beyond that tree line, but kind of gives you an idea of the lowering that was taking place. And I'm just going to fast forward to the end of this right here, because You can see how intimidating those skies get, still with that lowering on the back end, but watch just how dark it gets here in just a couple of seconds. I mean, it just shows that this is an intimidating lowering cloud, and there it goes right there. No, that's not just my phone turning off. That's how dark it was as this moved on through. So Matt, an intense storm. This kind of solidifies what went through New Albany just a few minutes ago.
Absolutely. And so now looking at additional tracks on these other storms as we got to get back up to Calville. South circulation, if it ends up becoming something, we're looking at Horntown at about 712, Thaxton 705 for you, Endville about 723, North Pontotoc High School there about 715 as that works its way eventually I-22 McCullough about 729. I'm just going to take our track and drag it northward and keep the same angle on these. And so this kind of middle one here, Bald Hill 711. That's not right. Let's adjust this forward just a little bit. There we are. Bald Hill 710, Ingamar 712. This is another circulation. Might not be anything, but we're not going to have a lot of time to poke and prod it because we still have a possible tornado on the ground up north, and then Alpine shortly after that. And then this kind of middle one here, New Albany, again in this track 710, current time 705. So let's stay in that tornado safe place there. Calville from the next one at 717. I'm going to pull that off before we get much into the rest of that list there, simply because those locations are being impacted by this initial rotation right now. So we're looking up here north of Calville, where we still have Doppler radar indicating strong rotation on this thunderstorm, and possibility near Calville here that this could still be producing a tornado up near County Road 150, County Road 283 in Union County, just south of the Union-Tippah County line where that is the case. Now, I do not have strong debris returns. Let's look here and change. Okay, we're still on the right color table on that. So I cannot say I have a strong sense of debris on this, but I do think it's possible this still could be producing sporadic tornado debris, possibly right there, there. So we'll see. Now what you see up north here, this is in the clear slot, so that is not tornado debris. And our inflow channel there still showing up, so it's possible this is still trying to produce a tornado, at the very least producing damage near Calville along Mississippi Highway 30, just north of that to the Union County Road 150, Union County Road 157, both on the north side of Mississippi Highway 30. This is County Road 163, that's Locum there, and that's where Highway 30 kind of shoots back to eventually catch up with 45. So this would be Tippah County, this is Union County, approaching the Tippah County line and Locum and Mississippi Highway 370 as it moves northeast at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So taking our circulation from about where it is now, we're about 3 minutes away from Mississippi Highway 370. Just north of the Calville area. I'm standing over top of Calville. We'd like to keep you in the tornado safe place there, obviously, as well, and for locations in advance of this. Okay, let's go back over here to the precipitation mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. And looking at this, I'm going to look from a different radar site here for a second. We're going to look from Memphis to see if perhaps we have a better angle on this here. I'm looking from Memphis. I still show a couple areas of certainly circulation. I mean, I'm looking at tornado debris on this, Gabe. I'm not really seeing a whole lot there at this moment. Are you catching more than me on this?
Are you talking about that northernmost storm?
Yeah, the Calville storm.
I mean, I haven't seen, well, I mean, there's a couple pixels that you could argue, but they're not lining up necessarily with what I would say the couplet is. But I mean, there's definitely still enough, and it has produced a tornado to go ahead and treat it like it is still on the ground, just to be on the safe side of things.
Absolutely. I think you nailed it there. I'll be on the safe side here. We'd much rather be on the safe side than the wish we had side. So Dumas, of course, we have not mentioned you as much because we've been very close in on this in Union County. So let's get a little wider so that we can kind of mention you. This is still a very strong and organized thunderstorm, still potentially producing a tornado. I know I show that mid-level rotation over here, rotation out here closer to Locum and Dumas and Blackland and Jumpertown and Booneville on the path. More on maybe a line that would take it toward Rienzi there if it continues at about the same angle that it has been going. Let's go wider, make sure we have the right angle on that. So again, no, maybe a little more north of Booneville, hopefully. Yeah, I'm thinking we're targeting just a little bit north of Booneville. So let's get you a storm track based on where we have it now. This is going to have too many folks in it. So let's come in closer and do that. get something a little more precise. It's a lot of jockeying to figure out exactly what this is doing. What this is doing is either A, producing a tornado, or B, producing damage. And in either case, we need to C, be sheltering from it. So Locum 710, current time is 7:09. Dumas 7:11. We're looking at this for Blackland at 7:21, Jumpertown at 7:23, Booneville at 7:27, Thrasher at 7:31, Rienzi 7:33, Bickersville 7:34. Working toward Jacinto for folks that live near there at 7:38. Glen, where you already had a tornado this week, we're looking at this for you at 7:42. Alcorn Central Elementary at 7:43. Holcut 7:44. Burnsville 7:47. And eventually getting closer there to Center Point School at 7:48 and 7:49 Kendrick. I'm probably not going to get this wide for a little bit. This is about a 40-minute track for you. So you need to be taking a picture of this right now. If you know some folks that live in Apprentice, Alcorn, or Tishomingo counties, to let them know that, hey, we have a tornado producing thunderstorm. We've had reports of damage with this, at least tree damage. And most of those near Lafayette Springs, reports of some trees that were uprooted for some of those locations. So downstream of this, you're not officially in the tornado warning yet in some of these locations. I think the National Weather Service will be issuing a new tornado warning here within a couple minutes. So sturdy structure, a small windowless room where we can wrap up in blankets and pillows, protect ourselves from flying debris, and stay there till we can give you the all clear. Gabe, I want to bring Gabe in for a second. What you got?
Well, so we were getting reports from Bill Hughes, our very own here at WTVA, and he told me that there was no damage that he could see, and he's in New Albany. He's getting back in storm shelter now, as there are still rotating storms, but no reports of any damage there. And we also got a report from a former meteorologist, Renee Scales. She has family in southern New Albany. No reports of any power outages or any damage close by there. So hopefully this thing might have lifted right before it reached New Albany, but based off what we've seen with debris, I mean, it's tough to argue that. And so that's what we're tracking right now as it continues to move through parts of Locum into the Dumas area. So if you are still in the path of this storm, moving about 45 miles an hour, go ahead and get to that safe place, Matt.
Absolutely. So Gabe, we're again the same wording on this new tornado warning as the previous ones, which is that we're looking at a potential for considerable damage out of a large tornado. That wording coming from the National Weather Service in Memphis there on this strong circulation here, a long-lived circulation on a thunderstorm moving there into and through now southern Tippah County as it's exiting Union County. If you live in New Albany, we have been watching a few other areas of circulation behind you. Let's address that again where we've previously had some damage before. Looking at those areas of rotation, I'd say more straight line winds than anything else. But again, a few areas back here that we're going to watch. So I'm going to track that whole batch there. As Gabe said earlier, about 45 miles per hour is the speed on this. Give me a moment to kind of get my system here set up for 45 miles per hour. And so we're going to track that New Albany, Bald Hill there, Thaxton toward the east and northeast at about 45. Let's double check the angle, see if we need a little more. We need a little bit more of a northerly angle to that. So let's do that. It's probably a more accurate angle. So again, New Albany, this next round, 713, basically now. We're looking at North Pontotoc High School, 719, Blue Springs, 732, Sherman, 734, Alpine, 738. The Birmingham Ridge area there at about 740. Bethany at 744. Northly Industrial Complex at 748. Baldwin 751. Chapelville at 754. And the Pratt's community at 755. This is some Doppler radar indicated rotation for some of those spots as this continues to kind of move toward you. Double check with our Veronica Mejia. We all good from your folks there in New Albany? Thumbs up. Man, I hope we dodge this bullet.
Sounds good so far.
Man, okay. It looked like it was more significant south of town. Things got real weird on the radar image over town. Prayers for the folks that have had some damage, but sometimes those reports coming in later, and I do want to check power outages here in a moment if we could, Gabe, to kind of see the latest on that.
I did get a report. Central New Albany does not have power.
Okay,
one of the viewers submitted that.
Okay, so no power in at least parts of New Albany related to this there, to this storm. But here's the part of the storm that previously caused some of that damage, at least south of New Albany, close to the Ingamar area. And for folks in the newsroom, if we haven't talked to emergency manager there in Pontotoc and Lafayette and Union counties. We need to get on the phone and have some conversations there. If they don't pick up, we're not going to bug them because they're busy, but we do need to see if we can get some information there if we could. Current time is 6:13, almost 6:14. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside our meteorologist Gabe Mainers. We're tracking tornado warning that now extends into, what'd I say? I'm sorry, 7:13. 7:13 now with these storms moving in particular right now, Tippah County will be entering Apprentice and Alcorn counties. It does look like the most intense portion of this probably stays north of Lee County there. There are other thunderstorms we're watching farther south, but this one solidly kind of heading more in the direction here of Rienzi, Burnsville, in the path of this long-lived circulation that hopefully is not a tornado, but has produced tornado damage and sporadic damage on multiple occasions previous to the current time. So again, Dumas, you're in the path of this, 370 there. Some pretty terrain up here, but a lot of trees and stuff. So if this were producing a tornado, we'd probably get a pretty clear-cut tornado debris signature on this. And looking at that, I think we're going to have to, keep tracking that again northeast on that as well. Speed at about 55 miles per hour, I think, still the latest time period there. So again, toward Burnsville, we'll look at that for you at 7:47. Jacinto at 7:38. Blackland 7:21. Thrasher 7:31. I'm not sure if I said Rienzi because I went out of order on that, but we're looking at about 7. Where are we at there? Rienzi 7:33 on this. I do think they might require a new tornado warning on this storm down south here, closer to maybe Ecru and Bald Hill. I think things are getting a little more organized on this thunderstorm here. In fact, there you go. New tornado warning issued for the south part of this. Again, it's a different designation. This is tornado possible out of this tornado potentially in the development phases. So this is going to be a new warning. It does include other locations from where we were talking about a minute ago there. This is Prentice, Lee, Tippah, Pontotoc, Union, and Itawamba counties in effect here until 8 p.m. Doppler radar indicator rotation near Bald Hill. As you can see, the emergency alerts going off there here for folks at the TV station, including all the stuff from the apps and everything kind of pinging. But near Bald Hill, where that circulation is the strongest, I do show it just ahead of where the precipitation is. So I cannot confirm this to be on the ground, but Bald Hill, I know we were just talking about you in Ingamar a little bit ago. This is Doppler radar indicated rotation that could be a development, be a tornado in the development phases near County Road 96, south of Ingamar, moving toward Mississippi Highway 15. So we need to be in that tornado safe place. Time to Mississippi Highway 15 is no more than 3 minutes. And again, the angle on these has been more northeast, so Ingamar, we have to make sure that we are in that tornado safe place. And I think one of the things National Weather Service just mentioned in our chat back and forth is apropos at this moment. Because of this trailing storm, we need to be staying in shelter and not going out and surveying damage at this point here. There's certified storm spotters and first responders that are doing a little bit of that, but even them, they need to be in shelter. Hello?
This is WTVA Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon with a weather call mobile notification. The National Weather Service has just issued a tornado warning for within 1 mile of your smartphone's current reported location. Take protective action now. To view a Google map of the exact warning area or to read the full text of the warning, tap on the tornado icon button
in the text message that I got. Okay, so Ingamar School over you at this moment here. We're looking at North Pontotoc High School at 7:19. This is that southern area of circulation that now has been upgraded to a tornado warning. Blue Springs 7:28, and we will get that camera in Blue Springs up here in a moment if we could. As it's moving toward Alpine 7:34, Boggins Bend at 7:36, Blair at 7:37, Guntown there at 7:41. Baldwin 7:44, Frankstown at 7:47, and Wheeler at 7:48. This is a Doppler radar indicated area of rotation at this moment here. And here's what it looks like to the naked eye out of our camera there in, this would be Blue Springs. And I don't think we have a great angle on that quite yet. Let's clear that. Sherman's there, Blue Springs there. Would probably look at the south Blue Springs one, looks toward the Toyota plant. I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. Well, actually, I'll just let you go ahead and click that and bring it up. Go ahead and make it full screen. So we're looking kind of in this portion right there, too far away to be able to see it. And one of the issues today has been, we're going to leave this camera on there, and I'm going to kind of leave it up in the background on the side as well. But lots of lightning, but a lot of our tornadoes today have been rain wrapped, meaning you couldn't see them even if you tried. So not shocking that we see the rainfall there. I do see potentially what could be a rain-free base just over top of that as well. I said I wanted to stay on that. Look at the west camera out of Sherman. And then if we don't have something obvious on that, let's go back to that one there. So we just talked about that. We need to do a quick track up here on the north one, which looks a little bit more disorganized than it was earlier on wind mode. Still strong enough on precipitation mode to be producing a tornado. So let's get a new storm track on this one here. It's County Road 600 approaching Jumpertown, Thrasher, Rienzi, Jacinto in the path of this. Regaining strength as we speak, continuing to get more organized here. Mount Hebron Church, we show at 719. You need to be in your tornado safe places if you live in Jumpertown. Again, time for Jumpertown, we're 726 for you. Thrasher 733, Rienzi 735, moving toward Hickory Flat School. For Hickory Flat at 738 there, Searcytown about 739, and eventually Glen by 745, Burnsville by about 749. Doppler radar indicated rotation could be strengthening once again, and could, if it continues to strengthen, produce another tornado as it moves in your direction. Let's go to the south storm here. Again, two that we are monitoring at this point, two areas that could be tornadoes. The south one getting more organized and over top of Ecru and near the Ashley Furniture Plant pretty much at this moment here. Over top of Ingamar, you can see the circulation showing up there as well. As we go to the wind mode, our wind return kind of right at the leading edge there, so I cannot confirm for sure that this is a tornado. This indication where it says large tornado, considerable damage is from the last tornado. The current tornado is still a maybe situation, but we take shelter in maybe as opposed to oops, I shoulda. So looking for Ingamar, we have to be in that tornado safe place. Out for Wallerville, Beacon Hill, Center Community ahead of this. Doppler radar indicated area of rotation that could be a tornado. And Blue Springs, New Harmony there, also in the path of this at this moment and time. Looking for debris, not something I can confirm, thankfully, at this moment. I'm going to pull up that camera that I'd asked Gabe to bring up just a moment ago there. This would be from Sherman, just dark stuff. So let's go back to that camera pointing right toward the Toyota plant there so we can get a better idea of what that's capable of. The reason I have an elevated amount of concern on this storm here as well is, as we talked about earlier, in either case, got a lot of stuff going on. Let's pull off the lightning for a moment. But in either case, I have free flow right out of the Gulf of Mexico into both of these. There's nothing down here impeding it. And that means it's going to take all that humid air that's been sitting here all week and gobble it up in either case. Without any storms in here to mess it up, that's a bad sign. So that's where we get the potential for tornadoes and potentially even a tornado that could be strong. Looking at other thunderstorms down toward Grenada, let's just get a look at that. Maybe broad rotation on the north side of that. We're going to throw on a preventative track here. Again, there's going to be some spots that aren't legit yet, but I'd rather just do a preventive track and get back up to these two storms. So looking at this, as you can see there, eventually Bruce 749, looking closer to Gums at 731 there. Houston 808. Okolona 825, Verona Tupelo area generally speaking around 830 or so. Again, it won't be both Okolona and Tupelo, it'll be one of the two, probably the northern of those. But again, I have not spent a ton of time analyzing that one because it's not producing, and we do have, unfortunately, more reports again that this storm is getting much stronger up here nearing Jumpertown. So Jumpertown, a significant situation where we have a tornado warning in effect for you. Looking at the wind mode near County Road 601, where I do show it. Looking for debris. I don't think I can say that is tornado debris at this point here. I think that is ahead. Yeah, that's in the clear area ahead of that. Let's go ahead and change our scale to make it as hyper-focused as it can be. Right there near maybe County Road 626. I'd say I cannot confirm that to be a tornado right there. Our circulation, this is trying really hard. Potentially could be a tornado right on the Apprentice and Tippah County line. So this is a strong circulation moving into Jumpertown. There's County Road 8200. There's Mississippi Highway 156 and U.S. Highway 45 directly in the path of this. So again, as I kind of give you a longer track here, this is going to skirt the north side of Booneville, probably stay just slightly north of the Booneville city limits, maybe not by a whole lot there. Let's get the long track and then we'll get the everything track. So longer track, Jumpertown at 7:27, current time is 7:23. So folks that live in Jumpertown need to be in that safest possible location. A sturdy structure, a small windowless room where we can wrap up in blankets and pillows, put on a helmet to protect ourselves from debris, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. Here is a shot. I'm going to go ahead and steal Apple TV from you, Gabe, for a moment here. I think we've got a shot coming in just a moment. This would be from the Calville area, and this is what folks up there were looking at as it came through there. Potentially is what we think it is. Now, I will say that there's the lowering associated with this, and it's possible whatever it was actually back here in the precipitation, but no question it's a scary looking cloud. And what? 1, 2, 3, 4 people that need to be inside. As much as we appreciate the pictures, we need to shelter as much as possible from these storms, because by the time, history tells us by the time we realize, ooh, we should have sheltered, it's usually a little bit too late. So tracking the southern storm now, let's go back and catch that. This one approaching the Blue Springs area. We're still good on Weather 3 on Blue Springs?
Yeah, Maddie was telling me to pull up west camera, so I'm doing that real quick, and then we can go south. We can look both ways.
Okay, we'll look at that there.
You can see the lowering on the left side of the screen.
Yeah,
sure.
you can. I want to see south, though. Let's pull up south.
Okay.
Because so what we're seeing is we're seeing the edge of whatever wall cloud there is right here as well, along the leading edge of that there. And so this is going to be the south camera. Again, this is the heavy precipitation. So our area we're watching is right there over the plant. If I'm looking south, I should be able to kind of see that. That's probably some hail and stuff in that gray that's all the way at the edge there. So this is going to be close, obviously, for the folks there at the Toyota plant. I know they have their own sheltering procedures that they do in this scenario here, and hopefully they are doing that at this moment, as certainly strong winds showing up here. And looking at kind of the debris mode on Storm Track Doppler radar, well, hold on. I need to check timing on this, Gabe, but look right there where it says Cherry Creek. Right there, Subertown.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, but right there, I think last scan, this might be Subertown Road.
Yeah, because it shows up after the rotation.
Right there, but it doesn't line up perfectly with the wind, but wind's been all over the place today. Let's treat this like this could be a tornado ongoing, okay? I'm going to treat this like a tornado debris signature here, because I just have not had very good confidence in the wind on this today. I feel it's, for whatever reason, we're having some issues. So let's treat this like a tornado debris signature here. Subertown Road, New Harmony there, and of course right there is the Toyota plant. Let's get the angle on this for folks there. And let's get a specific time. Obviously they have their own sheltering procedures there. And hopefully they are doing that at this moment. But I show no more than 3 miles and 3 minutes away from the Toyota plant based on what we're looking at here. Could potentially be a situation where this is producing a tornado near the Toyota plant there, approaching Highway US 78, 22, 178, the combination there. In front of the Toyota plant, going right toward where that camera location is. So let's get a track on that. Let's see if everything we can get the kind of pull up on there. Of course, the Blue Springs community, Fairfield area there in advance of this. I know, do you need to make a phone call to some folks as well, Gabe?
All of them are in shelter, and all the 20 dogs too. So they're where they need to be.
Okay, that's good. You know, and private shelters accept dogs. Public ones often do not. So if you're going to be going to a public shelter, just know that a lot of those do not accept pets, just because, as important as pet lives are, and I'm not saying they're not, we put a little preference on human lives, and that's the reason why those shelters are made for that. I know that could be a hard decision to choose to leave those pets behind if that's something that you have to do. But the reality of the situation is that those shelters are made for humans. And I know that's not going to be a popular phrase to say. Let's look at the camera shot there from Blue Springs. I want to keep it on that that south shot there until this is passed, Gabe. So I don't want to go any direction but the south shot unless someone could say for sure we've got a tornado on the ground. But that's the area we're looking into right there in the distance. So dark looking and potentially a tornado coming up and through and approaching that location there at the Toyota Manufacturing Mississippi plant. Unfortunately, that's just the angle at which this is heading. It's heading right toward them. And my time's probably a little slow at this point here as we've lost some time. I put it no more than about a minute. I mean, we show 7:30 the time there. We show it a minute away from getting that spot. So it might be just off the edge there. So we're going to leave that camera up as we go through this. So hopefully thoughts and prayers with those folks there that they are in their safest possible location as that moves in. I'm going to look at this north storm as we're also keeping an eye on what's happening on that south storm as well. So trying to multitask as best we can. Near Jumpertown, where we show this area of circulation moving through for you. Again, near Jumpertown, right where that arrow is where our circulation is the strongest at this moment. Let's get a storm track on that again toward Rienzi, locations northern portion of Apprentice County, southern Alcorn County. So Jumpertown we show 7:30, Pisgah Church at 7:33, Rienzi at 7:39. I'm going to just kind of slide this up so we don't move that camera, and I show our Rienzi Elementary School at 7:39. And let's not change the computer from that one anymore. If you want to see it back there, we'll look back there so we keep it as clear as we can for a moment. Let's go Hickory Flat School. Again, that's not the regular Hickory Flat, but at 7:42. Searcytown at 7:43. Macedonia Church at 7:44, and Jacinto at 7:45. Doppler radar indicated area of rotation that has produced damage multiple times in the past and additional tornadoes. At this instant here, I cannot confirm that that is a tornado on the ground, but certainly it is a strong area of circulation still at this time and has been for the last hour plus. Now we're looking both at that camera you can see there on your screen and okay, as much as I said we're not going to do it, I'm gonna look at two things at once here. I'm going to look at that. This is basically moving along I-22 as we speak. So don't move that camera. I'm going to look at both cameras at the same time here for a moment. So we are looking, again, toward the Toyota plant. That is looking south. This is looking west. This is our area of circulation right there, moving over I-22. You can see the camera's hitting. The reason the camera is bouncing is because of what we call a rear flank downdraft on it. That's the hook echo kind of wrapping around on this storm. You can see the sheets of rainfall, whatever it is, actually might be right behind that there, right there. That could potentially be a funnel cloud right there, maybe even a tornado kind of exiting. We're going to shift this to the north camera as soon as I bring it down. Go to the north camera on that now, if you could, please, as we continue to have that moving right across I-22. So whatever our circulation is, that camera's right there, was looking directly that direction into it. So it's now north of I-22. It's going to be a minute till we can see it up here toward Blue Springs. So we do believe we had potentially a funnel cloud at least along I-22 moving toward Reese and Fairfield and Ellistown and Branyan on the path of this. I can say I don't know for sure that that was a tornado, but I can tell you that there was enough precipitation there that it's possible something was back up in it that we couldn't see as clearly. I still do have the faintest return there potentially of some tornado debris on Storm Track Doppler radar with that. So that is what's crossing I-22 now, moving toward Blue Springs and Fairfield and other locations there in Union County. So I'm hopeful that this is not what we think it is, but certainly that is a fairly strong return just west of the Toyota plant there in Blue Springs. So tornado warning ongoing with this, and the potential that this could be developing into a stronger tornado as we speak. Let's look. I think I shifted you guys too soon, but let's go ahead and look here at that camera looking northbound. Oh man, it's just all blurry. We're not going to be seeing anything. Let's go back to the west one here just one more time and let me know when that is up. But again, this circulation right there over top of the city of Blue Springs now. On radar, it shows it back here. I had put it in all actuality right over top of Blue Springs. That's where we should get it in the next scan along Highway 9, moving toward Fairfield and Ellistown. Of course, Ellistown there where East Union is located. And so folks that live near East Union School, of course, in the path of this as well. Corona in the path as it continued to move toward the north and east with a speed at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. At the very least, this is damaging straight line winds. That's kind of our best case scenario is it's damaging straight line winds. Worst case scenario is it could potentially be a tornado still at this time trying to form. We're looking into and through that wind. Of course, it's nothing now. It's just all raindrops in there that we can't see. It's just so strong as that has kicked through. So now we'll go back to that north camera again. And it is interesting that now think about that north camera. It should not have been all fully covered in rain. That would tell you the whipping of the winds there if it was all blurry from the rain a moment ago like
That's
we
true,
had it.
yeah.
So that would not have been my initial expectation on that. Let's go wider. Let's double check up here on our other storm closer to Jumpertown, approaching 45 in Rienzi. This one has gone through a bit of a cycle once again. I'm going to hit it from the radar over in East Alabama, which does a better job of I think the positioning might be just a little bit off on it, but it does a better job of showing how it's wrapped all the way around in there, close to the Jumpertown area. So let's get the positioning better on this one. So kind of wrapped all the way in there, up close to Jumpertown, near the Alcorn and Apprentice County line, where I have it at this moment. Again, based on the current angle, I feel like we've gone a little farther north. Yes. So let's get the latest track on that. I'd say putting right about here. We might clip Corinth with this track, the southeast side of Corinth there. Rienzi, 740 for you. New scan, let's adjust. 740 for you in Rienzi. We're looking at Jobs at 743, Glenn at 748. Current time is 7:35, so 12 minutes away from when we had a storm a little earlier on this year. We did get a report of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, but no visual of a tornado when it moved through the Jumpertown area, according to ham radio operators, amateur radio operators there that do a good job helping us out on nights like this. 749 there, Alcorn Central Elementary. Farmington at 749, Dosky at 756, Crossroads, where we had a tornado earlier this week, at 759, Fredonia at 801, Caney Hollow at 804, Grand Harbor. That would be as it exits the area at 804. So within about the next 30 minutes, we'll be rid of this storm that unfortunately has been wreaking havoc for well over an hour now. Coming back to Union County, as we're now looking north of the Blue Springs plant, the Toyota. Of course, this is a communications tower that's flashing there. I still have power clearly looking up toward Blue Springs on this shot there. Maybe that's actually a car with flashers on, now that I say that. So not a lot of visual out of that camera there. Let's look at Sherman back toward the west. It might be just outside, or do we need Sherman to the north? Let's try Sherman to the north. Either way, Ellistown, Blue Springs in the path of this rotating storm near Branyon and over top of Fairfield at this time. Let me know when we've got it up. We're good. So this would be too far away and not enough sky to show that up there. So we're going to bring that back down. See if there's a better camera. Actually, Tupelo cam back northwest. We might still have a shot at it from there. We might be able to get kind of a better overall perspective as well. But over Fairfield, moving toward Branyon is where our circulation would be at this time. Again, right over top of Fairfield and County Road 197. Let's move that forward a little bit near Branyon and Graves. Branyon, of course, where Highway 9 turns north there, 348. 348 right there. There's Graves, Corona. Bryce's Crossroads area in the path of this as well, as it moves kind of closer to Bethany there, which of course would be where the Bryce's Crossroads area would be. So let's track this out that way. Speed again, about 50 to 55 miles per hour. I'm going to keep Baldwin in the track just in case on kind of the east side. Let's take a look here, see our angle. I'm not wide enough to see an angle. Storm chasers report 1 northwest of Blue Springs, inch 0.75, so golf ball size hail from this. So obviously some big hail as well. There we are. Let's get the loop.
It's behind the tower. So.
It's behind the tower. We can't really see it. Okay.
Not really. You can see the lightning on the back end, but.
Okay. Okay. And A shot from a storm chaser. Looks like we, one of the storm chasers when they were in New Albany had a shot of a tornado, Blue Springs did have a shot. Will look like it a tornado. I think we probably did catch it there briefly on the camera, whatever funnel cloud or tornado was occurring with that as it moved through that area there. So that's what we expect to still potentially be causing damage out here northeast of Blue Springs. I don't have debris imminently obvious on Storm Track Doppler radar at this moment. But the area that would be producing it is the one that's over top of County Road 197, just south of Mississippi Highway 348, and the intersection there where Highway 9 turns off of that. So again, let's adjust our track forward, which is what we just have to kind of keep doing as this kind of moves toward the northeast. I'd show it again here closer to the Jug Fork area, just north of Jug Fork, where this will pass. This, of course, is Birmingham Ridge Road there. So Birmingham Ridge Road, and it becomes 231. And I'll just say, Drew and Kelly, hopefully y'all have already gone to shelter. I know you're good about that. They typically go to the shelter up there in Alpine. But just some folks that used to work here at the TV station, I'll make my own shout outs from time to time as well. And I know they're in the path of this. Let's see if that Alpine shelter is as well. It's a close call. We'll see. This could potentially curl a little more north. So watching that out here that'd be Lee County, but this is still technically in Union County for the next few minutes here. Let's go and reset here for a moment. Let's double check what we have going on. Additional thunderstorms kind of back behind this. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside our meteorologist Gabe Maynor, looking at a line of thunderstorms here from Grenada up toward around Oxford. It's in a zone where perhaps one of these could again spin something up at some point here in the future. I do have a couple areas of spin showing up there. I tracked one a minute ago. We're going to get a longer track on this one as well. Once again, not spend a lot of time on the not tornado warned stuff, but I do at least want to give you something here. And there's a circulation back out there, southern Yalobusha County, eventually Algoma 818, Tupelo 840-ish. Looking at Mantachie 853, but the near-term Bentwood 843, Bounds at 847, and Bruce at 854. We will see, yet to see any kind of official warning come out on that one there, but it's a zone where that one is strengthening a little bit, and that could end up being our next tornado warning. So if you're out here in Bruce, out in Calhoun County, Bentwood, Lloyd, watching this closely for you just in case this ends up taking that next step and trying to produce a tornado. But again, within the last few minutes, we've been able to confirm a tornado touchdown near, at least according to spotters there, tornado report near the Blue Springs Toyota plant. Again, not on, but near. And then as we look up here toward Biggersville, we have a storm that's produced multiple tornadoes over the course of its life cycle. That still trying to nail down the exact spot as we've gotten where we're looking really high up and fairly broad on this. I think right where you have that circle kind of circling around is where it's most likely. Actually, I say that in 356. Let's double check that. Yeah, right in here where our area of circulation probably is near County Road 541, moving toward Biggersville, Jobs, Ryenzi, where we need to be in that tornado safe place as well here. So I'm going to track it based on kind of where that circle is there, with the reality being there are a couple other spots in this line we have to watch. But Danville Church, we're at 743 for you. Glenn at 752. Burnsville at 757. Bethel School at 8 o'clock. Dosky around 8 o'clock. Tishomingo County Game Refuge at 801. Crossroads at 803. Pine Flat at 804. And Fredonia at 805. Goat Island Recreation Area. It felt like it was Goat Island weather this week, but 805 for you, for folks that are up there. So let's make sure that we're getting to shelter here if we're up with this storm in Alcorn and northern Tishomingo County. Still some questions whether or not that one is still producing. I don't think we have the same questions, though, surrounding this one moving into northern Lee County near Branyon. This would be the Union Lee County line, 348, the intersection there where Highway 9 turns north. I believe there's a gas station right about there on the south side of the road. If you find yourself kind of middle of nowhere, we need to make sure that we're getting to as sturdy a structure as possible. Sometimes a gas station with the refrigerators is the best we're going to be able to do related to that there. It does look like the folks down at the National Weather Service have issued, as we were talking about a minute ago, a tornado warning on this storm moving toward Bruce and Pittsboro. That coming out just in the last couple moments here. This is the one we were tracking just a minute ago with that time about 840-ish, or yeah, 840-ish, I think, the Tupelo area. think is what it was there. So tracking right along 330 there, approaching Bruce from the southwest. So let's get a storm track on that there. Buckhorn, Gershom, eventually Algoma potentially in the path. I'm going to do a really long path on this here. That shows again about 840-ish for Tupelo if it continues at this angle there. That's Midtown Tupelo, southwest portion of town. We show at 834, Chesterville 833, Furs 829. But in the near term, Algoma at 817, and really Bentwood, Schoona, Elyard, and Bruce all within about the next 10 minutes or so for you. Bruce in particular looking at 753 as this is entering the western portion of Calhoun County. And we need to again double check those speeds because I think I still have this tracking at 50 miles per hour on this. And you last mentioned it was 45, so I might be tracking this a little fast. In fact, I'm tracking at 55. So I'm back at the 50, and I'll double check with Gabe here in a moment is just exactly how fast. I might have given you a little too quick a time on that.
45 still.
45 still? Okay, so it's back down to 45. So let's do a longer track. Let's do it 45 miles per hour. And let's get some more accurate times there. And so for folks in the back room, folks in the newsroom, when we do have reports of damage as this is coming in, let's go ahead and relay those along if we can, so that we can talk about those as well. Not necessarily go in depth, but make sure that we relay what's actually happening in more clear terms. So again, looking at this here, this would get it toward the Tupelo area about 853 if it were to continue at that speed. Pontotoc 832, Algoma 827, Bruce at 758. So that shows 14 minutes. Best case scenario might be a little less than that. In fact, I'm going to clip a little time off that. I think that's a little slow. That's a better time, 7:57 there, so about 12 to 13 minutes for you. As we come northward, a tornado warning continues for locations in northern Lee County. Have not shown you tornado safety rules really at any spot in a while just because of how busy we've been kind of going back and forth on these there. But down up here toward the Bethany area, we need to be in that tornado safe place once again as well. Branyon, I don't have as clear-cut a tornado signature on this as what I had a few minutes ago, but still a potential this could be trying to produce a tornado in this zone. So here's some times again all the way to Hobo Station. We show that Corona at 7:45, Bethany at 7:48, North Lee Industrial Complex at 7:53, Baldwin 7:56, Frankstown 7:56, Wheeler at 7:58, and Hobo Station by about 8:10. And now let's go north on this line here. And catch our storm up here closer to Biggersville. And let's look at the wind mode on Storm Track Doppler radar. There's a interesting return showing up just a little south of the Jobs area. Again, our wind mode has been less than ideal today. We've run into some errors from time to time on this. Let's look at wind. Again, I'd say east of Biggersville. Clearly, there's no question that's our area of greatest concern on this storm. The remaining question as to whether or not it's fully producing a tornado, but that's nerd stuff for after the fact. We prepare by going to shelter, and we hope for the best, as opposed to planning for the best. So tornado safe place if you do live here in eastern Alcorn County, northern Tishomingo County. That's where we need to find ourselves, is that tornado safe place for those locations there. Searcytown, obviously right now, Dosky at 8 o'clock, Crossroads at 8:03, Pine Flat 8:03, and eventually closer to Grand Harbor about 8:08. But Glen 7:51, current time is 7:46, and 7:47 for folks who live near the Antioch Church in Alcorn County. So a clear area that we need to watch. Definitely some big hail with that one as well, as it's possible that could be producing maybe even golf ball size hail. So we don't often have hail of that size out of thunderstorms, but certainly a possibility out of this one. We're going to hit this and head back to Calhoun County. As we're looking for Guntown, for Bethany, again, we had been watching it out here closer to Corona. We have seen a shift in the way this storm looks, where I previously had clearly kind of the hand sticking out there, or the rear flank downdraft rotating around. I don't have that as well pronounced right now. That reduces my confidence level on this producing a tornado. So damaging winds, and perhaps this could spin something back up. But watching that for you, Blair, Bethany, Baldwin, Guntown. As this moves toward you, we had a track for you just a moment ago. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes for those spots there. Let's come back south. Let's look out here west of Bruce. and Calhoun City. So our more clear-cut circulation a minute ago was the northern one. The one that looks a little bit more interesting now is actually the southern one near Pittsboro. These are not big circulations, and I think that's one of the challenges on nailing them down tonight in this area here. That's a benefit because big circulations, I always say that my kids could find those on radar. Littler ones are more difficult. More difficult is good because that means that perhaps they aren't what we think they could be. But Skuna, and I'm going to look at that for you, for Bruce. I'm going to, instead of looking at the wind mode here, I'm going to track you based on the precipitation mode, and that's going to slice a ton of time off of my time that I was looking at for you. I think my area circulation is deeper into this storm, but I'm going to track you from the front edge because that shows less time. So notice how that's cut it down to 750 for Bruce. That's when the precipitation gets there. There will be some wind rotating in with this as well, and potential this could try to produce a tornado at some point in the future. So Bruce, we need to be in that tornado safe place. Pittsboro, Lloyd, Reed, Buckhorn, all within about the next 15 to 17 minutes or so as it moves toward the northeast. Let's go to our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, here as we're continuing to kind of assess some of your reports into us. Some reports of damage do continue to come in here. Gabe, what do you got?
Well, this was actually from our very own Veronica Mejia. She was telling me that some of her friends that live off of Highway 15 and County Road 94 reported that their roof was completely gone. And going back on some of that radar data, I mean, this is just south of New Albany, and you can see what went right through there. I mean, we're talking about that tornado or at least strong wind gusts, but I think we confirmed it, and based off the assessment of the damage. Now, I don't know if that was just a tin roof that was ripped off or if it was off of what exactly it was off of, Matt, but it's at least some damage that's being reported and some devastating damage at that.
Absolutely. Stuff that'll take a while to pick back up from. I appreciate that. There have been multiple rotations went over that area. One surefire tornado. So prayers with those folks this evening that things don't get worse. This middle storm here is probably the one of greatest concern. That was the northern storm you mentioned a moment ago there, that when it moved south there of New Albany, kind of over top of New Albany, south of New Albany, closer to Ingamar, where you had that damage there. And that is the storm up here closer to Corinth right now. And so that is the one right there. I do believe it's possible that that storm, the rotation has not looked as compact recently. We're also a little higher up, so confidence is always going to be a little bit lower in that situation. Still need to be taking this seriously up here in Alcorn and northern Tishomingo counties. The storm in the middle, though, is the one of possibly greatest concern right now, because I think it's going through a storm cycle, which means it could be getting stronger here in the next few minutes as it kind of gets a little bit more organized. So I'm going to take kind of a long angle at this here so I can see more things at once. To Booneville in this shot here, north of Bethany, where I have this little indentation. Our previous circulation had been down here. I have a little more indentation showing up here near County Road 6100. There's Baldwin, so this would be up in Apprentice County. There is still some rotation back here toward Blair, just north of 348. But that northern one is, I'd say, a little more concerning. Yeah, looking at wind mode. It is as well. No tornado debris on that here, but let's go and circle it for you. This is the one near County Road 6100 that's moving toward Frankstown and probably the south side of Booneville. As this storm gets more organized, it's possible that this is going to shoot out more toward Baldwin. It'll probably be closer to Frankstown, but if this is not producing a tornado up here close to Frankstown, south side of Booneville, when it could reach that layer of greater organization where it attempts to do that once again. So speed on these, we're going now 45 miles per hour toward the northeast there. Let's extend that track. And so this is about Guyville at 6:53. So within the next minute to 2 minutes or so, we're looking at Frankstown's at that was 7:53 for whatever reason. I can't get 6 out of my head. Wheeler at 7:58. We're looking at Booneville 8:04, altitude 8:11. Burton at 8:17 and Payton at 8:22. Doppler radar indicated rotation, and an area where we definitely need to be continuing to focus on the potential that this could try to produce a tornado. Let's look back at the wind mode here for a moment. Again, the latest scans here, we're right on top of Frankstown and Guyville at this moment. This is Highway 45. This would be the Highway 30 bypass on the south side of Booneville. Booneville, this is heading toward you. So we need to be in that tornado safe place. As you can see now, that yellow rotating arrow showing up there. to show the mid-level rotation getting more organized on this. But all indications are that when we get the next precipitation scan, it's going to be kind of up here, right there, closer to Frankstown, that you and Booneville have to be in a tornado safe place from this. So we've talked about a lot of other locations, and we've shown the tornado safety rules numerous times today. But a reminder of unsafe places. And again, cars and trucks, we don't need to be traveling. Cars and trucks and mobile homes are the most unsafe places, but we also, if whatever structure we're in, need to make an evaluation. We don't want a large open room. We don't want upper floors. We don't want rooms with windows. We want to get down low, want to get to the middle. Because the more walls you have, the more protection you have from the potential for flying debris if that's something that ends up impacting you. And so there is that potential that this could produce another tornado once again as it moves in your direction there. So current time is 7:53. Let's go ahead and let's take this wide here for a moment and catch all locations for just a second here to do an overall assessment. That same thing I have on the screen there applies for everybody at this point here, which is that we need to make a safety assessment as to where our safest location is. And if we aren't in one of those or aren't near one of those, tornado shelter lists there at WTVA.com. You hold your smartphone up to that and it'll pop up a little link in yellow. Click on that and you'll be able to get to that tornado safe place. Let's go down to Calhoun, Chickasaw, Pontotoc, and southern Lafayette County. Some folks that have already had some issues tonight watching near Bruce, our area of circulation there on this thunderstorm. And again, the wind mode not giving me something. Go ahead.
I was just saying it's not lining up at all.
It isn't lining up right for one reason or another. Let's look out of Memphis.
It's not any different. Memphis, Jackson, GWI.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing if it's not lining up perfectly. That's what I want to see. The precipitation mode, I think we're just going to stick with that here for a moment. And again, it's kind of a notchy front end of this here. Again, this is possible rotation that could lead to development of a tornado with this part of the thunderstorm there. And so there's kind of our longer track. I'm tracking the whole front line of that in case it gets more organized. The southern part, it's a little more likely, but just kind of a notchy front end of there. Looking at that, tracking again toward Takapola. How many times I said you tonight? 3 times at least. About 8 o'clock. Hulk at 8:19. Sherman at 8:32. Enville 8:27. Tupelo in the neighborhood about 8:40 to 8:45 or so, based on where it's going right now. Our meteorologist Gabe Maynard with more damage reports coming in to us. And Gabe, I've seen primarily tree damage in a lot of reports so far. What are you getting this evening?
Well, tree damage, but also more damage coming out of Union County. I mean, let's just go over that real quick. Locust Grove Christian Academy was showing that a roof was blown off and the tree blown on top of the roof. Now, I'm going to work here real quick to get that picture pulled up because we did get pictures of that, but it was a child's daycare. Fortunately, I'm not hearing of anyone hurt so far, so as long as we can keep that going, then that's exactly what we want to keep reporting on. We also got power out in downtown New Albany. We reported that in the central part of the town, and roads are closed around Ingamar because of downed trees and debris. Matt, you were talking exactly about that. I have the pictures pulled up right here, and I'm going to work to open those.
Is that it?
Yes,
right
so that's the Locust Grove Christian Academy off of Highway 30 as those storms rolled on through. And I believe I have one more picture of it. You can see the tree falling on the back side of the house. And the roof also reported to be blown off. I'm curious if it was ripped off from the tree or if it was actually legitimately pulled off of the roof due to those strong wind gusts. But either way, devastating damage, Matt.
Absolutely. Where was that location one more time?
It was off of Highway 30 is what she reported, and I looked it up on Google Maps.
Highway 30 and what?
Highway 30, and it's off of County Road 126.
Go ahead and we'll come back to this shot here, please, if we could. So County Road 126 near Highway 30 there. Okay, so that was probably the first storm?
I believe it was the first storm that went straight through the heart.
Unfortunately, we've had a couple of these storms kind of go through the same spot. Frankstown, like we talked about a minute ago, this storm getting more organized and potentially about to try to produce another tornado pretty close to you and pretty close to Booneville at this time. Again, a couple of spots along here where we have strong winds and at least 50, 60, maybe 70 mile per hour winds possible out of this here. Booneville, we need to be in that tornado safe place. I see somebody asking in the Facebook Live chat, you're under tornado warning. Those sirens are going off. You need to be in that tornado safe place as well. And continue to kind of track that toward you. So Frankstown, we're looking at that for you. Booneville, Altitude, Jacinto, Holcut, all in the path of this storm as it moves toward the northeast. So Franktown, we show at 7:59, Doppler radar indicated area of rotation. This is definitely an area of circulation, Booneville, that we need to be in that tornado safe place for. 8:07 time period for you. So looking now again at the debris mode on Storm Track Doppler radar, nothing on that I am seeing at this time of indicating that this is producing debris. But of course, that's something that we confirm after the fact. There's nothing predictive about debris. There's just for the nerds after the fact saying, oh, look, that one did that. But here's my concern kind of on the wider shot here. We still have the rotation up north. I'm not as convinced this is for sure on the ground, but it's been the storm that produced the most significant damage. So that's the one that obviously we have to keep tracking. But the middle storm there is about to become, if it hasn't already become more dominant storm. So up here just east of Corinth, moving toward Kendrick Crossroads, the Sandy Creek subdivision. We tracked this a number of times over the last hour for you. That's where we're going with this as well. Again, we showed Jerusalem Church at 7:59, Shady Grove Church at 8:01, Kendrick at 8:02. Looking at counts at 8:11. By that point, Pickwick Landing there, we're now north of the Tennessee state line. That leaves the WTVA viewing area there. So there's your times. Snap a picture. Tornado warning continuing for you until, I believe, 8:30 p.m. on that northern storm. It says 8 on there. If I were to advance this just a little bit, you'll see it pops over and it says 8:30. The middle storm, though, just using the eyeball test. We're in March Madness as far as basketball teams are concerned. One thing they always say is use the eyeball test. Well, okay, using the eyeball test here on this, that is our more dominant thunderstorm. This one's still getting more organized. It has an open Gulf to work off of, so more issues there potentially. But this one up here we have for Booneville is clearly the more significant one at this instant here. It just has the overall look of something that could do something bad. So that's what we're tracking for you. I'm going to check from a couple different radar sites. I'm going to try to go from the one we have over there in West Alabama. I do think our, again, positioning I think is a little bit off on this here, unfortunately. So we're not going to be able to trust that one tonight. But over Frankstown for you, let's go up a scan to see if we can get a better location. There we are, right over top of 145. This is the bypass there. Where we are, right there on the south side of Booneville. So right over top of that bypass is where this is. But over top of the Frankstown exit, this is trying to kind of curve back around here. We've talked about this a number of times. There, County Road 5020 is moved toward Booneville, the altitude community on really, I mean, everybody in Booneville needs to be in that tornado safe place because of this here and what it is capable of. You can see a couple spots there. Again, it shows on the southwest side there, Booneville, right over top of that Highway 30 interchange is where our strongest circulation is showing up right now. That might be displaced a little bit from higher up in the thunderstorm, but either way, let's treat this as though this could be a tornado at the very least in the development phase. I think definitely we can say Doppler radar detects rotation that could lead to the development of a tornado. And while one has not been spotted in this moment, this previously did produce at least a tornado that we were able to confirm using the Mississippi Department of Transportation cameras when it was back in the Blue Springs area. So Booneville, folks at Northeast Community College need to be sheltering in place from this potential tornado as it moves toward you. So I'm going to track it based on where the wind interchange is there, which might be just a hint fast. And to give you some times there in Booneville, of course, we're Booneville High School at 8:02. Current time right now is about 8:01. So that might be just a hint fast, but we're looking at 8:02 for you. Midtown Booneville around 8:03. Tuscumbia Church at 8:06. Smith Church at 8:08. Free Will Church there at 8:09. And Mount Olive Church, all these in and around the Booneville area and just beyond that within the next about 10 to 15 minutes or so. I'm going to extend this out a little farther, get some other folks into this track. We showed Jacinto at 8:16, a New Lebanon Church at 8:20, Holcutt at 8:22. Burnsville, again, different circulation than the first one. That's one of the messaging issues that we have on here, that this could potentially still be a tornado strengthening and could generate a tornado here very soon. We got to go south, check out that storm. Then got to go north up to Tishomingo County here real fast. So we might have a tornado redeveloping up north, and I'll need to make sure we don't have something south before we stick on the north one for a minute here. I don't have anything. I'm going to be honest. I'm not impressed by what we're seeing here. So I'm just going to put a track on the whole line, front of this line, give you some times. We got to go back up to the north one. So there's your track. Thaxton, we show 8:05. We're looking at Pontotoc, 8:21. Chesterville on the west side of Lee County there, about 8:37. Tupelo High School, 8:42, assuming about the 45 miles per hour. Now we got to go north up to Tishomingo County again. Law enforcement reporting potential that there was a tornado there in Tishomingo County. This would be near County Road 214. Near just north of Highway 72 was the most recent report there. And just a reminder, when we do get into this wall-to-wall coverage like this, we are live on KZ 103 and oftentimes also on 95.1 The Farm. So you can listen if for whatever reason your internet goes out. And a reminder that also we do stream live the WTVA weather, WTVA news app, and WTVA.com/live, because power outages, real thing in this situation. Let's look for the wind mode here. And again, County Road, the report was County Road 214. I'm not seeing it specifically here, but just looking at radar, I can see about where I would put it. So there's Pine Flat, there's Fredonia, there's Crossroads, there's Dosky. Right in there is where we have in the northwest portion of Tishomingo County, right near the Alcorn Tishomingo County line, moving toward the east and northeast at 45 miles per hour. Law enforcement reporting that that could potentially be a tornado at this time. Mississippi Highway Patrol with that report there. So approaching Mississippi Highway 350 at this moment near Fredonia. So again, we're looking at about 4 minutes or so from at most crossing 350 there. Fredonia is where 350 hits, and then you turn north to go up the Pickwick Lake there. So, I mean, a lot of folks head up there in the summer times. I know I do from time to time as well. So a lot of those folks, certainly Grand Harbor, other locations up there, making sure they are in shelter at this time. And then it will cross quickly up into Hardin County and out of the WTVA 9 News viewing area. So Pickwick Landing, we're looking at 813 for you. Pine Flat, 808. Sandy Creek Subdivision at 809. Bethel Church at 811. Counts at 811, and Caney Hollow at 812. Let's go to the middle thunderstorm here, because again, we're tracking 3, and the middle one's over top of Booneville. In saying that, I'm going to give you a long track on Holka before we do this. I say Holka, it's not Holka. It's southwest Pontotoc County. I'm going to give you a longer track on this. This might be getting a little more organized, but I still have about 3 or 4 minutes before I got to get really in on that there. So Rob's 805, Buckhorn 807, Pinnell 812, Algoma 818, Troy 826, Pontotoc 823, Trey State Park 829, Tupelo High School 836, Verona 838, Tupelo proper 840-ish on those. That storm getting more organized. You can see how it's kind of changing the angle there. Not a good sign, unfortunately. Let's come up here to Booneville, because this storm, if it has not produced a tornado, it is trying very hard on the southwest side of town now. I show it near College Street, really kind of moving over top of Booneville as we speak. So I'm going to have to keep it here on Booneville for the next few minutes. I hope we're in that tornado safe place up here in for folks that do live up here in Booneville, because this potentially is a tornado either regenerating at this point in time. I cannot yet confirm that it has touched down, but let's put this in the ultra sensitive mode, more likely to give us a false positive, but at this point I think we probably need to take the chances with that there. So I've been looking at this section right here near 510 and Meadow Creek Drive. Still have, again, the wind has not helped us much today, has it? But I do have that little lowering in our correlation coefficient there. Let's see if we have run-to-run consistency. I don't yet, so I don't have high confidence level that that's a tornado damage yet. But the confidence level could increase if we go to the next scan and it's there. Either way, we need to be in a tornado-safe place up here if we live in Booneville, because this is a rotating thunderstorm moving into town. So Jacinto Road, Meadow Creek Drive, I show Franks Road there, King Street, all in the path of this, Mississippi Highway 30 through town there. Of course, I mean, downtown right there. It's pretty much over top of you right now, moving toward MLK Jr. Drive on the northeast side of town. I'm going to kind of change the angle a little bit more here and come in real close. So again, North College Street, of course, Northeast Mississippi Community College, we're pretty much right in there. The Walmart as well. There's McCormick Road, Jacinto Road, Martin Luther King Drive, and then Highway 4, the bypass on the outside of town. So we're no more than probably 2 minutes from the bypass as we're over top of downtown right now. That shift in the city grid, of course, there at downtown Booneville. So this is moving through Booneville proper. Thoughts and prayers for those folks tonight that this is not something worse. But certainly this is a strong storm that has pretty consistently had some strong winds with it. This one has briefly produced at least one tornado when it was close to the Toyota plant at Blue Springs there. It went through a bit of a cycle where it weakened and now has re-strengthened once again, pretty much right on top of Booneville. So now, latest scan, I would place this circulation, this potential tornado here, pretty much right on the northeast side of Booneville, about to kind of exit there toward Highway 4 and the bypass on the northeast side of town where that is. Let's go a little wider for a moment. Thrasher, you're close on this here. The worst of this probably staying a little bit north of the altitude community there. And I don't want to miss the fact that, yes, we're looking at the tornado here, and that is absolutely of significant importance. And let's get a track based on where that is going. But what I'm also looking at here are strong winds pushing out this way, and could be 65, maybe 70-mile-per-hour winds pushing out more east there along Highway 30 as well, probably knocking down a few trees. Because as this is trying to spin up the tornado back in here, it's kicking out the stronger wind push there. We call the rear flank downdraft. And what happens is this tries to kick out, and you get the wind that kind of wraps in, and the interactions where the tornado forms. And so that inflow channel kind of pinching off some with a much more forceful RFD push here. All of that to say, the middle portion of this right here, probably more likely to have some strong winds with that as well, in addition to whatever's kind of wrapped into the middle at this point. Current time is 8:09. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon. You're watching live continuous severe weather and tornado coverage here on WTVA and ABC WTVA as we are monitoring a tornado warning for Apprentice County, Alcorn County, Tishomingo County, and additional tornado warnings back here into Pontotoc and northern Chickasaw, Lafayette, and Calhoun counties. A couple areas that we're watching back here on this storm. I see some broad rotation just north of the Reed community there in far northeastern Calhoun County, and a couple other spots along the line where I do have some broad rotation up north of that. Before we kind of zoomed in close on the Booneville storm, we said we had some concerns about the angle of this. Let's bring in our meteorologist, Gabe Maney, here for a second, because you've been looking a little closer at this one while I've been up north. What you got, Gabe?
Well, so I would say that your more concerning part is right along Highway 32 and Highway 341, just north of Reed, like we were talking about. And the reason why is because if you look at this rotation, you're of course getting that notch just around the Buckhorn and, as I mentioned, 341 area. And yes, it is interacting with those greens and reds, but what was the more concerning part earlier was up north and with the straight line winds. Matt.
Okay, reports from the North Mississippi Storm Chasers now. Spot a report in Booneville, police officer confirming tornado on the ground west Church Street and downtown. That report coming in just in the last couple of minutes here. So unfortunately, kind of the worst case scenario on this has happened. Aaron with the North Mississippi Storm Chasers reporting just in the last 8:08, last 2 minutes, a tornado touchdown there in the Booneville area from this. So that would be what's on the northeast side of town now near County Road 1000. Looking for debris. I do have, again, this area here that we've been kind of looking at where we do show some tornado debris potentially on that. Not a strong signature of that. But reports again from the North Mississippi Storm Chasers that this did produce at least a tornado near or in the Booneville area in the last couple minutes here. So we have to make sure that we get into our tornado safe place. Some things to also note here for folks that are up in Burnsville or Rienzi or Iuka. You have a tornado warning you've already had in place, and the tendency is going to be to come out of that storm shelter once the initial storm has passed through. You can't do that in this case. We have a trailing storm as well, and there's yet another one behind that could be an issue. But of course, we've just now had confirmation from North Mississippi Storm Chasers of at least a brief tornado touchdown in the Booneville area, and that was a report pretty fresh as of the last 3 minutes or so. And so about where you see that arrow on the graphic here, here's Booneville, there's downtown where the report came in, kind of around the downtown area, and then now it'd be pretty close to where you see that arrow showing up on our graphic there is where that circulation has moved on to. As far as tornado debris goes, I don't have a lot that I can confirm, but again, it would take a while to loft it up this high. So again, a confirmed tornado within the last 2 minutes in the Booneville area, now moving toward altitude, now moving toward County Road 1251 and County Road 1219, north of Mississippi Highway 364. There's 364 there, and so north of that is where this is. At this instance, south of Thrasher, again, Thrasher, safe place. Altitude, safe place. Burton, just outside of this, safe place. Holka, safe place. Iuka, you're in the path of this storm as well. We need to be in that tornado safe place here as this is continuing to show strong rotation with this storm and could potentially still be a tornado. We'll look behind this here. Do we have something else near Frankstown as well? Hold on. There's at least some rotation with that as well. I need to take this to clear air mode. Give me a moment. I need to see what's behind the outflow, where our outflow is on this. It's going to get ugly for a second. I apologize for that. I need to have an idea of where we have outflow here and what's, okay, so here's the point. See that green line there? We talked a lot about this on Facebook Live earlier today. It's going to be kind of a quasi-cold front that this kicks out. Now, that has not really shot very far ahead, but behind that, it becomes more difficult for these storms to produce tornadoes. But that storm near Baldwin is pretty close to that, so it still could get this more fertile air to intersect with it. And if I kind of go back southwestward there, this storm is also back behind it. So these are still all prime and potential to try to produce tornadoes near Bruce, near Holka. I say near Holka, north of Holka, where that one is as well. So let's get storm tracks on these. I do not have the same kind of returns or confirmed tornado reports we have north, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. And I apologize for that. I know we've spent a lot of time on a lot of the same spots. The threat has been greatest for those locations to this point. The southern one of these storms, let's give it a longer track. And you're going to get some of these spots, such as Tupelo, in both of these. That's why this is a later time. But we'll look at Lloyd 819, Reed 822, Thorn 827, Davis Lake 832, Holka at 834, and working its way toward Palmetto at 854 there, and the second one toward Tupelo around 9 o'clock. The lead storm, and again going to the wind mode here, the lead storm where you see the arrow showing up there, moving more toward Algoma. Let's get the angle. I got another little spin up here as well, north of Randolph.
That whole line has been rotated.
I mean, the whole thing. And it could still potentially be, okay, let's just circle. Hate it when we have to go crazy here and just kind of circle a bunch of stuff, but that's what we're going to have to do. Let's get you 2 tracks on this, and we got to get to a confirmed tornado up north, because that's one of the issues. But these are moving more into populated areas. Pontotoc, City Lake, which is about where Pontotoc is. For whatever reason, Pontotoc's not wanting to show up today. That's fine. Pontotoc, City Lake's in Pontotoc, 824 there. We're looking 824 for the Pontotoc area. Nixon, 828. South Pontotoc High School over you at 820, which is about 5 to 4 minutes from now. And then Buckhorn here, the southern rotation. Again, that's looking a little bit more healthy, unfortunately. And so that one, similar spots, we're going to get there. Pennell, we show 818, Algoma 823. We're tracking that there toward Trace State Park, 834. This could eventually prompt a new tornado warning for Tupelo, 840-ish. This is the time we've been watching you, depending on where we're talking about. Midtown Tupelo at 846 there. Actually, I think that might be Fair Park Tupelo technically, but the Medical Center, 845. Basically, everything here down is pretty much in the Tupelo area, generally speaking. So there are 3 different zones that we are watching. We're watching, of course, the zones there. Well, let's look up here toward New Albany. I still have some broad rotation in this section here near Bald Hill. Let's get you another track for the 4th, 5th time. And then we got to get up to that confirmed tornado. Bald Hill, 818, Ingamar, 821. This has got a ways before this produces a tornado. Could still be some wind damage. And yes, there are probably folks out there trying to pick up the pieces right now. We're not quite ready to do that. Hopefully after this line, things will clear up enough for us to be able to pull that off. And then we got to come up here to Apprentice and northern Tishomingo counties. And I do think, again, our circulation, far northern Tishomingo County up here has probably lifted out of Tishomingo County. Yeah, we're now probably up here into Tennessee. So we're going to turn that over to the folks up north. And we're going to concentrate on the part that is in our area. Still some strong winds, again, crossing Pickwick Lake as we speak. And then coming down here to Prentice County. Again, this is the part of the storm where we had at least a report of a brief tornado moving into and through the locations there in Booneville just a little bit ago. I do want to go to our meteorologist, Gabe Maynard, who does have some reports of damage coming in. Gabe, what are you seeing?
Well, these were photos submitted by Michelle in Ingamar earlier tonight. We know we had that confirmed tornado move through parts of there. This is a car report submitted off of County Road 98, and the unfortunate thing about this is that the car was underneath. But Michelle did tell me that everyone is okay in the house. Unfortunately, just going to have to go get a new car and, of course, a new carport going forward. But they're just grateful to be alive after what was a very significant storm rolled on through.
And so I also have a picture here that we'll pull up from near the Blue Springs area. I'm going to steal the iPad from you here for a moment and wait for that to kind of pop up. But we'll show you that here in just a moment as we get a new track on this previously tornado-producing thunderstorm just within the last couple minutes as it's kind of tracking there again toward Jacinto and Leedy and Iuka in the path of this. Again, a most recent report here, this did have rotation on it that was reported to be a tornado within the last 15 minutes or so in the Booneville area. Not as convinced looking at radar, but as we've talked about over and over again this week, radar is far from perfect this week and has been not having a great day. But we're looking about 8:39 there, Iuka. Walker sighting there at 8:33, Jacinto at 8:21 as it's moving toward the northeast. We need to be in our tornado safe place there. We do have, we believe, a new area out here in Union County we were tracking a minute ago. It might prompt a tornado warning again near Bald Hills where we were looking at this just a moment ago. Again, same spot we were looking at continues to kind of get more organized here out in Union County for like the fourth time? Third or fourth time here as it's moving there. I'm going to keep this, by the way, over here connected if we can, and if we want to pull it up, we'll pull it up here. So once we get it back reconnected, so that we can do that. But you can see Bald Hill 818. I'm going to switch you places so I can get this fixed and going over here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're tracking this tightening rotation that we're seeing along parts of Union County, moving through Bald Hill and now moving into parts of 22. You see times listed there. Bald Hill by about 8:18, Mitchell School by 8:21, Shiloh School 8:24, Wallerville by 8:28, Union Hill 8:29, and you see several times listed in there beyond that point, Ellistown area 8:35. I know my folks are out there right now, so go ahead and be getting back to those safe places. Unfortunately, as Matt was mentioning, this is the third or fourth time that this has happened, and we are seeing that rotation tighten up. Looking at the last couple of scans, you can see how that's wrapping around, and we're starting to get that RFD to form, especially on whenever we look at the reflectivity as that wraps around. Now that tornado warning now being issued, and it is going to be moving in that far northeast direction. I would argue this is much more northeast than what they've been prompting here over the last few warnings. So we're going to take that warning a bit more on the northeast side. You see it's going. Lee County is included in there, but it is going to be moving if they continue that same track. We see it moving through parts of New Albany 8:28, Calville 8:36, Buena Vista 8:45, Dumas 8:46, Collinstown 9:03, Thrasher by 9:09. Just a bit of the extended look at this, but we've seen tornadoes in Union County right now. I want to zoom in here real quick just to make sure we have nothing confirmed as of right now, and I would say nothing confirmed. So let's just continue to assess the entire line. I want to say that they have issued, I think it's covering both now that I'm looking at it. It's the southernmost rotation. That's what it's including for parts of Lee County. So let's go ahead and get a track on that as that moves into northeast. The northeast direction through northwest Lee County. You're seeing a few times listed in there. Pontotoc by around 8:31, Enville 8:42, Sherman 8:46, and Blue Springs by 8:48, on into Alpine 8:58, Guntown 9:02, and Baldwin closer to 9:07. So it's covering both of these notches of rotation, Matt, and that's kind of just covering their bases going forward, right?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and trade back here. Okay. I finally got Stan's picture up here from the Blue Springs area. It says Highway 9 south of Blue Springs near County Road 209. And this is some of what we have seen often today. And it's just pictures of trees covering roads. Pretty good sized tree there knocked across the road. The kind of thing that if you can stay in, you can stay safe. We need to make sure that we are in that safest possible location here because it's possible that, damage like this or potentially the structures could be something that we are confronted with, unfortunately. So multiple areas of circulation that we are tracking here across the region. One thing the Weather Service noted a moment ago is perhaps getting a little more circulation out of some of these storms back to the west once again. Still some time before we have to confront those, but the S is showing up clearly on that Pontotoc storm. Let's look up here closer to Rienzi and Booneville, and really Booneville. We have another storm coming into town. Broad rotation on that. The storm of greater significance has been the one to the east. Let's go back and let's keep it on the rainfall mode here for a moment. And you can see how our RFD is kind of kicking around our area of wind, trying to wrap back around a little more tightly there. So kind of tracking this, Jacinto where we show it right now. Iuka, give me a moment. I'm gonna change our position just one more time till we have that. Okay, Jacinto 823, and that's basically now. We're looking at Leedy at 828. Tishomingo County Hospital, 837 there, 838 in the Iuka. Burnsville Local Look area, 832. And Eastport by around 846, the marina there at about the same time as well. The storm that's behind that, if it were to strengthen, it still has a ways to go. The next one, again, we need to be sheltering from still in Booneville, despite the fact that storm number 1 is through. I know that's why I'm not giving a whole lot of all clears. It's the same spots keep kind of getting the next round. We're looking at for you again, Booneville moving in within the next 2 to 3 minutes, already kind of overhead at this time. Altitude at 834. This is a different one for Jacinto at 839. So still about 15 odd minutes from now, if that were to, take the next step and produce a tornado as well. But back out here in Pontotoc County, again, in Union County, let's catch them both. 2 areas of circulation, well, maybe 3. Up here, Bald Hill, closer to New Albany, a couple spots where we have the rotation. I'm most concerned with the one that's southwest of Pontotoc. So let's track the north one here first. We'll come in really close on the south one. So it gets kind of a broader track on this whole batch up here. And the speed, hold on. I think that might still be too fast. Let's adjust the speed on this track down to 45 miles per hour, which is more realistic. We're going 55 there for a moment, so I'd want to give you as realistic a time as possible. And then we show that there, Ingamar, now, number 3 or 4 for you. New Albany, 827. Calville at 835. Molino at 837 there. Bethany at 850, tracking eventually toward Guyville. Again, some spots where we had sporadic damage showing up on radar earlier at 853. Baldwin, 858. And next one, Booneville's overhead now. The one after that, we're looking at about 904 for you. Now let's look south here at Pontotoc. Let's look really closely for you in Pontotoc and Algoma right now. This has more of the angle that we look for. I'm going to change the smoothing on this. Right in the middle there, south of where we show South Pontotoc High School, north of Algoma, right in this area where it kind of makes this S, right? Right like there, right in the middle, moving toward Pontotoc is probably the area of greatest concern on that. Getting more organized there as it moves into Pontotoc proper. So hopefully we're in that tornado safe place if we're in Pontotoc County. We have had different parts of the county under tornado warnings at different times. National Weather Service in Memphis has. And so now is the time that we need to be there. Looking at the wind mode, that's the spot here near Algoma Road, between really the South Pontotoc High School and Algoma there, where we show it most impressive at this time. Next scan's going to have it between 9 and 15, really just southwest of town. And I do anticipate it could potentially look stronger than it does right now. So we need to assume this could potentially produce a tornado if it continues kind of at the pace that it is right now over top of Old Airport Road. I cannot confirm tornado debris at this instant. But unfortunately, that's something that's not predictive, as we said probably 10 zillion times today. That's something that helps us to figure out after the fact what has happened as opposed to predict what's going to happen. There it is where we expected it. Luckily, not a whole lot stronger this scan. Could still be a tornado in the development phases. Let's get a kind of a longer track on this. Again, we're within 5 minutes or so of the southwest portion of town. I'm going to get a longer track on this ahead in case this holds together, since this is one of our southernmost areas of circulation. Pontotoc, City Lake, we show 827. Minute from now, south part of Pontotoc City, or really kind of midtown at Pontotoc, 829. Nixon, 833. Longview, 836 there. We show Blue Springs 844, Ellistown 849, Birmingham Ridge area about 850, Branyan 851, Alpine 854, Guntown at 857, and Baldwin about 902. Doppler radar indicated area of rotation that could potentially produce a tornado for you guys there. So I'm watching very closely, obviously, and keep it here for the very latest. Let's go ahead and reset here for a moment. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon alongside our meteorologist Gabe Maynor as we are tracking multiple tornado warnings still at this time. Multiple places where we've had reports of tornadoes within the last 30 minutes, and watching near Thrasher, an area that continues to show some tightening of circulation up here as well. Also close to Booneville again, as really two areas here, Leedy out ahead and this one closer to Booneville. Look at the wind mode in either case. Again, we do have areas of rotation in either case showing up there. I'm going to track the back one. I'm going to track the front one after that. So I'm going to track the one but basically over top of Booneville. And again, this track only good up until the next circulation, so that's why I'm not giving you farther time. Booneville City Park 8:28, current time is 8:28. So all these times in Booneville, and then of course we're looking at Smith Church at 8:32, Jacinto. A lot of folks live near, not a lot of folks live in Jacinto, but 8:39 for you. And then our lead circulation there, a little broader than it had been earlier, still showing up south of Leedy, moving toward Iuka. I haven't spent as much time on this storm because I'm believing it's probably getting far enough north it could be what we call elevated, and that might mean that the circulation is struggling a little bit more to get down to the ground. Nonetheless, we have previously had reports of damage out of this thunderstorm, so we have to assume it still could potentially produce that this evening. Rowland Mill Church at 8:29. We're looking at Overton Chapel at 8:34, Iuka at 8:39, Eastport 8:47, and Waterloo by about 8:51. Again, Iuka 8:39 if it continues at the pace where Burnsville is right there. You see that flash. We still there. We need to be in our tornado safe place, but definitely looking at a strong thunderstorm trying to produce a tornado there. And then back out here to Pontotoc, moving into town right now. An area of rotation could be damaging. Not sure for sure that it is a tornado, but it's about at the right angle. I don't know if it's going to sweep far enough this direction in time. Hopefully we can get it to not do it at all. But right there's just a couple spots where it's trying to spin something up. I'm going to change the angle on this a couple different ways. Your Waters Road, I mean pretty much all there right along Highway 15, 342, 41, where they're all kind of right there at the same spot, is where I have a couple spots. Of course, hit by tornado a couple years back, have been hit by a couple tornadoes over the last few decades in this zone, and the same spot here kind of in the target of this. Luckily, we're still in the maybe time period on this as opposed to we're sure this is happening, but I would put our circulation within the next couple of moments here. Approaching again Mississippi Highway 6. This is the 278 bypass around town. A lot of folks take, back and forth between Tupelo and Oxford there. That's Highway 9 up to I-22. It'll be kind of paralleling Highway 9 for a little while and then catching up with it close to Endville if it continues kind of at the angle that it's going right now. Looking at wind here. Again, see, the thing is, I have this area there that's very suspect, but just all along this, there's just a kind of a somewhat suspect green and red that are there trying to make it spin something up. So I don't know that we have for sure a tornado there, but I do know that that's trying very hard to do something and needs to be respected, obviously. Looking toward Union County, again, some fairly strong interactions there, but I do not show an imminent tornado in that line as well at this time, thankfully. I mentioned a minute ago, Burnsville. Hail dime size in Burnsville reported by the North Mississippi Storm Chasers at this moment there. Looking for where they're at I don't see a whole lot of reports of damage in the last few minutes, so they have folks that are engaged helping with damage in other locations. So not as many of them are chasing at this exact moment as they're kind of helping out before they reposition. Let's come up here to Tishomingo County, Iuka, next populated center to be hit by a storm that has previously produced tornadoes. Again, I luckily have some questions as to whether or not this is still producing one. But this has produced over its life cycle numerous rotations before, and so let's just go ahead and assume that it could do it once again. So given a storm track kind of all along the leading edge of this push of strong winds that could also be rotating here. Waiting for that to pop up, we show Iuka at about 8:40. Eastport School 8:45, but in the near term here we're 8:34 there, Hebron Church, Overton Chapel at 8:34, Mount Moriah Church at 8:36, Tishomingo County Hospital at 8:38. All of this for Doppler radar indicated rotation. I'm going to check that other radar. It's been a little slow today. Let's see if it's a little slow. We're kind of looking at a few different things here. It looks like it might have gone down. Let's see. Now, looks like our position is getting a little slow. For whatever reason. That's interesting. It's never happened before. Okay. Either way, let's go and trade places here for a second, Gabe. What you got?
Oh, it's just to look at power outages. So I'm going to, can we get my mic up real quick? Is it up? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to look at power outages here real quick. I have it on Weather 3. So I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through what we're seeing. And this just basically confirms what we've been looking at. Going county by county, we're talking about Pontotoc having 1,300 people without power. That was along that initial storm that went through northwest Pontotoc County, especially with the winds afterwards. Lafayette County 1,400, Union County 276, Tippah County 324, Apprentice County, we had that confirmed tornado just east of the downtown city of Booneville, 431. And looking at the rest, Alcorn 365, Tishomingo currently 0 without, and Lee County currently was 0 without power. So these storms ramping up and moving more and more in that eastern direction. So it's something to keep an eye on, especially as we head further into the evening and these storms continue to go into what is a very unstable environment. Now I want to take this entire line just from the top to the bottom, going ahead and looking at these as they move about 45 miles an hour. Would you say that's still accurate, Matt? Yes. So 45 miles an hour, we're seeing Eastport 848, Riverton 849, Waterloo close to 852, and Wright about 856. Now, assessing this in a more detailed fashion because this is a tightening rotation. You can see several towns listed in there. Mount Moriah Church 834. That's right now. So hopefully you're already in your safe place. Tishomingo County Hospital 836, Iuka 837, Iuka Elementary 838. That's the fortunate thing about it being a weekend. Folks are not at school right now. Eastport School 843, Eastport 846, Waterloo closer to about 849, and then moving beyond that more into Wright and Gravelly off there into northwest sections of Alabama. Now, assessing the line, we see some strong wind gusts coming out of this tornado warning that's in Union County. You're seeing that along the leading edge right there, and so I'm going to track this entire line just moving in that northeast fashion. You can see several times listed in there. What you're going to get right now is gusty conditions, whether it's a tornado or not. These can be damaging in its own right. Just looking at some of those wind returns as we're seeing right now, very high up in the atmosphere, anywhere from 40 to 50 miles an hour associated within this this leading edge of the storm. So still going to be damaging in its own right, but fortunately not seeing anything in regards to tornadic development. I say that reflectivity shows it wrapping around just a bit, and I would say on this bottom part of the line, something to pay attention to because we are getting that RFD developing right along Highway 6 as it moves from northeast into parts of Longview and then on into western sections of Lee County. So I want to do a line based off of where that strongest wind return is. And you can see folks in western Saltillo, just outside of TCPS, you're seeing Longview 837, Enville 840, Sherman 844, and Birmingham area 851. This is not a confirmed tornado, but still a tornado-warned storm, and we're seeing what we call an RFD. I mean, we've talked about so many tonight that I figure everyone's an expert at this point, but you're seeing it right there, that RFD with that wraparound of moisture and those reds and yellows showing up on the bottom side of the storm. That inflow going right into the storm, and that's what's allowing that turning to take place. And you can see it right there. I mean, that arrow showing up right where it needs to. When we talk about debris, I'm not talking about, I can't confirm anything just yet. Getting a more detailed look right there. Yeah, there's your rotation, putting a circle on that with those reds and greens. I'm in a very tight rotation at that, but we line that up with debris, and let me see if I can turn this arrow off. I mean, you get the idea. There's not any debris associated with it. Reflectivity shows that it's right in that inflow notch, so it's right where that rotation is supposed to be. Hopefully that does not produce and continues to weaken, but it is strengthening as of this moment. So eastern sections of Pontotoc County, go ahead and get to that safe place if you're not there already. I want to do a storm track on that for folks that are out ahead of this, just because this is going to be our tightest rotation outside of northern portions of Tishomingo County. Longview 838, Enville Baptist Church 841, Sherman United Methodist Church 846, Birmingham area 852, on towards Blair about 856, Guntown closer to 859. So we're talking northwest portions of Lee County, even southeast portions of Union County. Go ahead and get to that safe place as well, as we do have a storm that's tightening in rotation. Still nothing confirmed as of now, but that's definitely a very defined inflow notch that we're getting right there just outside on the east side of Pontotoc, moving across Highway 6 as we speak. Assessing the entire line, still seeing those 2 tornado warnings and that one up in Tishomingo County. I know folks just along 72 in Glen, this is going to be right east of you. We're talking east of Burnsville, moving towards the town of Iuka. Looking at the latest returns on our wind mode, definitely showing some tighter rotation, not seeing anything confirmed as of right now. I want to show you guys the area that we're primarily looking at, and it's going to be those brighter reds and greens showing up right there, the interaction of the two showing that vorticity tightening, and fortunately not showing anything in regards to confirmed debris. Still tightening as we speak, so let's go ahead and get a track on that as it moves in that northeast direction. Oh, forgive me on this. All right, let me go ahead and draw this out. So again, moving in that northeast direction, Tishomingo County Hospital, 838. That's happening in about 10 seconds as we speak. So hopefully you're in your safe place as of right now. Eastport School and Eastport going to be anywhere from 8:45 to 8:47. Safe place now as we head into the next 10 minutes or so. Riverton, same thing. 10 minutes from now, we're going to be in your area. And by then, with how much it's strengthened over the past couple of minutes, wouldn't surprise me to see one being produced here in the next few minutes. So let's go ahead and assess this again. And that is showing a very clear and defined structure as we see right there, that RFD wrapping around the inflow notch, moving in. And I just want to check this one more time to make sure it's not producing, because it's definitely getting tighter as we speak. Hear the sirens going off here at the station. We'll assess that one moving into Lee County here in a few moments, but definitely some tight rotation. If you know of anyone in Tishomingo County, downtown Iuka, it's over the top of you as we speak. Again, not showing anything debris wise, but you guys need to get to your safe place as we speak. Downtown Iuka. It's moving across 72 right now, Veterans Memorial Drive. You can see that rotation, that main part that we're watching, right along 72 as we speak. Downtown Iuka going to be affecting you here in the next 20 to 30 seconds or so as that rotation continues to tighten. Fortunately, not showing any debris, but let's go ahead and treat it like what it is, the damaging storm moving closer and closer to your area. Now, I do hear the sirens going off here at the studio. We're right on the outer edges of this polygon, but still looking at those wind modes, definitely getting some strong returns out on the southern part of this line, long portions of Trace State Park, and even up here on the northern side, we're talking about 22, just southeast of New Albany. I'm seeing some tight returns as well. It's going to be along 178 and 22, you're seeing it right there as it moves in that northeast direction. We'll take a storm track on this and then move south, because we need to assess this entire line. Hopewell Church 840, Center Baptist Church 841, Parks 844, and Alpine closer to about 849. Taking this off, and let's go to the south part of this line, which, speaking of the line itself, still going to be 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts. Let me look at where we're expecting that tightest part to be. Honestly, looking at this, and I'll swap it over with you, Matt, here in a second, but you're seeing the wraparound right there. You're seeing the wraparound on yeah, that's definitely tightening up on that upper part. We're talking about Longview. Yeah. And that's going to be moving into Enville and then western sections of Lee County.
I'm going to pull up that Tupelo tower cam, because we're looking back kind of into that there and that rotating part.
You want to take it full screen?
That's not yet. I want to give it a minute here, because that has tightened up a bit more, and that's the most Okay, let's get an angle on that there. Man, we had a minute before it got worse again. Okay, so what's the right angle there? West Saltillo, in the path of this. I want to make sure we get the angle just right as we're kind of watching that camera at the same time. Yeah, I'd say Guntown, West Saltillo, in the path of this rotating thunderstorm here. And I'm going to adjust this forward actually a little bit because I'm tracking where it last showed up as opposed to where it most likely is. We're watching both these things at the same time. You can see Enville at 841, the Red Hill area at about 848, West South Tupelo there at 850. Doppler radar indicated rotation. This is the Lee and Pontotoc County line. This is the Union Pontotoc County line, and again the Union Lee line. So again, similar spots where we've seen a couple of these coming through in the northeast portion of Pontotoc County. This is approaching Sherman as well. We show Sherman at 845. That's maybe 3 minutes away from now. We've actually on 3 should get a shot from Sherman looking south.
I do want to say this.
Let's bring Gabe's thing up again. Go ahead.
This polygon is not showing the correct path of this storm. It's moving more.
Your mic may or may not be muted. I'm not sure. Okay.
Test, test. Okay. So yeah, this storm is not moving in that far northeast fashion that this polygon's issued. It's moving more east-northeast. If you look at the last couple of scans and show that storm track, I wouldn't say it follows that polygon. I'd say it moves to the southeast side of it.
I would agree. I think it does eventually cross out of it. But I think that one circulation, if it wraps up, I think it's pretty close to, I mean, it's going to be a close call. Sherman would be right there. Yeah, let's adjust our angle a little bit. I'll give you that. And let's move it forward because, again, near Buchanan there, this is right along Highway 9 where this is tracking at this instant. You can see a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning showing up our Tupelo cam looking back toward kind of the west. We'll pull up the camera instead out of Sherman looking south. I'll pull that full for a moment while I'm also going to adjust the Tupelo tower cam, make sure I have the best possible angle on that. Again, either way, you can hear the tornado warning sirens in the background here. The northwest portion of Lee County needs to be in their tornado safe place because this is a tornado warning for a thunderstorm that is trying very hard to produce a tornado. And you can even see just in the lightning flashes there, the lowering the area where we would watch that potential this could try to produce a tornado. I don't like sitting on cameras for long periods of time.
It's right there, yeah.
Right there?
Yep.
That's what you're saying too? That's what I was saying as well. I'm going to duck down here for a moment so I can keep that on and look at some other things at this exact same time. Just want to remind folks that if your power goes out, we do stream live on Facebook and WTVA weather news apps, WTVA.com/live. So there are lots of ways to catch us. We're also live right now on KZ 103 and 95.1 The Farm. So if for whatever reason your signal goes out and you have no internet, those are options in and around the Lee and Tupelo County area at this point. Okay, now that's a different return. Okay, I showed it very near Endville. Looks like our line's broken there. Sometimes when it breaks is when, again, right there, 2 areas of circulation, Endville Road, TCPS, if you live on the west side of Tupelo, northwest Tupelo there, we might be able to get a shot out of that from 20, here, hold on. I'm gonna pull it up here. Let's go Tupelo, we want the west part of town, and let's kind of check the multi-directional shot, shots on this here. West, I mean, you can clearly see the low-hanging stuff there, but I think that's a little north of the spot we need to be looking. So it can give me a chance to hit a different camera here. God, nearly cloudy ground lightning. We're going to have some power disruptions from this as well. I just need one of the cameras to shoot the right way. I don't think I have a good shot on that one either. I'll give one more here, and then we gotta go back and try something else. This is near McCullough, and that McCullough and Coley South might eventually be more useful than it is right now. But none of those are exactly what I want at this moment. Let's get back to radar here. Storm track Doppler radar. Let's go wide for just a second. Make sure there's not something else that we need to hit up here. Up at Tishomingo County, again over Iuka. Broader rotation in this batch here. Still need to be sheltering from this potential tornado. Booneville, another area of rotation, still fairly broad. Probably not a tornado, but definitely trying. But out here, Endville and Sherman and TCPS on the west side of town, west South Tupelo, all in the path of what is likely a tornado at this moment. Again, there's a couple spots in there where we got to be careful, and right there could potentially be, it's pretty close. If this has not produced a tornado, it's trying very hard to do so. So we need to assume, see right there, we do have that weak spot there is where we have that return. So I'm not sure I can say for 100% that we can confirm that, but I definitely would say it's trying very hard to produce a tornado at this moment on the northwest side of Tupelo. For some wider perspective here, let's double check our angle for a moment. Here at the TV station, we're okay, but not by a whole lot. Let me double check the angle one more time. Oh, that's close. I think the odds are really good that this will miss us, but here's what we do need to do. I think we're okay. I think we're okay on this. Not by a whole lot, not more than a mile or two, but I think we're going to be okay at the TV station. Pretty much right where you see that arrow is where it's most likely to be producing something, kind of right in this zone there. So it's close for us. We're just outside the tornado warning. I think that's fairly accurate. Now, up there at 145, and this would be Birmingham Ridge Road. I think that's going to be a fairly close call for locations there. The Garden Park subdivision, where I show West Saltillo on the map there, that'd be Old South Plantation there, kind of the north side there is Saltillo, where we need to be in that tornado safe place. This is an area of circulation that's trying to spin up a tornado as we speak. I'm yet cannot confirm it to be a tornado, but Saltillo, West Saltillo, kind of in the path of this storm. I'm going to check it out again using our Tupelo tower cam. As you can see, I'm going to load the screen up with some things here for a moment. So get on ready. We have that, and then I'm also going to throw, I don't think I can actually throw tornado safety rules on that as well. I'm going to adjust tower cam back to the right just a little bit. Right there is our area of interest. There's a better shot at it. Okay, what do we got? Gabe, I want your eyes on camera. We've got to make camera big. I'll adjust it over there. Let me look at this. So there is whatever it is. I see primarily precipitation with that. I'm waiting for some lightning strikes from behind. But this is our whatever moving toward the northeast area circulation. I say whatever because I cannot confirm that it is a tornado, but certainly this is the spot we would look for it. I'll go back on the screen here for a moment. So we're trying to get as good a look at it as possible. It's right in here. I would say that's our area, trying to wrap back around it. I'm gonna stay out of the way of it for a moment. Gabe, do I see an angle there and an angle there?
Yes, I would agree with that. It's right over that light, that white light, maybe a little bit to the top left of that white light.
Go right about there. I can hear the wind starting to pick up outside a bit more. Of course, if you live in the northwest portion of Lee County, we need to be in that tornado safe place, the lowest floor of a sturdy structure. I know we've had some hours of tornado sirens going off. It's easy to get fatigued from that. But looking toward Mount Vernon there, just north of Barnes Crossing Extended, where we're looking over the Herdtown subdivision, where we have this potential circulation trying to produce a tornado. It's right behind me there. So this is the spot we're looking at here, moving toward West Saltillo. This is Birmingham Ridge Road there. This would be kind of that main Saltillo interchange. That's Old South Plantation. That's Garden Park there. And so it's kind of moving over a lot of those spots as it crosses the Mount Vernon Road area at this time. Now, I do not have any debris that I can confirm as of the latest scan here, but we're watching whatever this feature is in the middle there very closely. Right in there is the thing that we are monitoring. Now, we're looking below that there. That is our rotating wall cloud. That is messy looking. That's not good. So hopefully this is, man, we're hoping that doesn't produce a tornado, but that's definitely trying pretty hard as we kind of look back toward the west and northwest from the television station there toward whatever this rotating thing is there. This is our rotating wall cloud. And so there is still, as of the latest gap, a little gap there. Now I do hear winds picking up in the tower up there a little bit more as we're seeing the inflow into this circulation. This is rotating. Don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand me. And those places that I've been mentioning a moment ago, we need to be in that tornado safe place because of that fact. I'm going to have to leave this camera up no matter what we do. but West Saltillo there, this is trying very hard to produce a tornado. This is Birmingham Ridge Road. This is kind of the Birmingham area, Birmingham Ridge Baptist Church. This is Euclid Tupelo Road. You have made all your phone calls. Your wife's a different place?
She's up in Union County,
Okay.
but the house is another story, so I'm praying.
Okay, I appreciate that. Good to hear that, and I don't blame you there. This is trying very hard I would say this is trying extremely hard to produce a tornado here near this Birmingham Ridge Road, pretty much right over top of that.
It might have done
would
it.
be Euclid Tupelo Road. It might have. Let's see here. If it has, it's been wrapped up in rain, and that's always been our concern. Hold on, let's double check. That's still the open area.
Okay, praise.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've yet to been able to truly confirm this to produce a tornado, but there's a couple spaces right along here along Birmingham Ridge Road where it's trying extremely hard. Our WTVA studio is there, and I got to point our camera a little bit more to the right here. We're going to lose it in the tower here in just a second, unfortunately. But that's just, that happens. You can't, when you mount it on a tower, at some point you're going to be pointing back toward the thing you're sticking out of the ground watching. So, wider perspective for a moment. We need to be in that tornado safe place if we're up here in Guntown and Baldwin, as we are looking very closely at a circulation trying to produce a tornado, may potentially be a tornado up here, Saltillo, moving into, again, Mud Creek Church there, Birmingham School, Old Birmingham School there, of course, Euclid Tupelo Church, Francis Chapel, Mayfield Church, Evans Chapel, Guntown Middle School, all in the path of this potential tornado as it moves toward the northeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. Let's get a longer track on that ahead. And again, that eventually take it toward Bay Springs Lake, Hobo Station, Marietta. You see Marietta at about 9:14, Baldwin 9:05, Guntown 9 o'clock, as we mentioned, altitude about 9:24. Burton 9:27, again, repeating locations once again. As we look, I'm going to get one last shot at that tower cam, and I think we probably lost whatever it was into the camera. Yeah, I think it's probably back over there now. This is just the rainfall. We're there. We're seeing all that rain there. That's about to hit us. I think by the time we could look north and catch it, we might not have as good a view. Man, if this didn't produce tornado, we got really close right there around Birmingham Ridge. And you saw that live on TV, how close that came to doing something. Let's double check here. The threat's by no means over, but we have to come up here north and kind of catch and see what else other storms are doing. And very messy velocity or wind return on these storms tonight for one reason or another. Let's check out of Memphis and see if it's any better. They're just very messy. Clearly, of all of them, the one that stands out the most is the one that's in kind of North Lee County, the one you're seeing there out of our Tupelo tower cam. And we need to instead, I missed opportunity there, we need to look north out of our MDOT camera at I-22 and 45. Before it rains, we could potentially at the top of your screen there have a better shot. We might have had a better shot the whole time actually on this. There's the new tornado warning, I think, coming out, latest update there. There's a new tornado warning coming out for Apprentice, Lee, Tippah, Pontotoc, Alcorn, Tishomingo, Union, and Itawamba counties. That in effect until 9:45. So again, another 45 minutes there as well. We'll go ahead and bring up your camera. Is it up?
Yeah, let me.
You're going to have to steal the, we're going to pull up
Give me 1 second. I'll let you know.
from Maynardville, USA here
All
in a
right,
minute.
there you go. And it is on the path of this rotation. I just want to say that.
So hold on. I'm going to see if we can pull it up here. So this is
Euclid Tupelo Road.
Boy, I see it there. Did you see it right up there?
Yep.
Oh, Gabe, I hope this isn't what it looks like it is. Okay. So that's our area of circulation getting closer there. I'm gonna make you small but keep you up there. Keep an eye on it, as I'm sure you will. Again, new tornado warning came out a minute ago, kind of making sure to include in it locations back farther to the, let me double check, is that it? Yeah. Farther to south and east, and so more locations in Tupelo involved in this here, partially because it's trying to cross out of that tornado warning. They're trying to cover that and any additional circulation that comes from this part back here toward Pontotoc. You still have power? Is that still updating? Yeah, it is. Okay. So where Gabe is looking at here, I'm not going to completely give away exactly where he lives, but we're up here kind of north of Saltillo, where the rain has yet to hit. and where the circulation is kind of moving very close to. So this general area here is where our circulation is. A lot of lightning showing up in that shot there as this moves toward Guntown. So Guntown, we have to be in that tornado safe place, a small windowless room where we can wrap up in blankets and pillows, put on a helmet to protect ourselves from debris, and stay there until we can give you the all clear. Guntown, again, we're looking at 9 o'clock for you. Euclid Church at about 8:56, which right now is where we kick over to 8:56, about like that. So it's over top of that location there. Strong gusty winds, at least 50-mile-per-hour winds there. And then it's not unreasonable that we could get this to try to produce a tornado. As you can see, quite a bit of lightning as the wind is picking up right before the big wall of rain hits there. It looks like it's about to hit up there in northern Lee County. So as we'll leave that up, we're going to check out other circulations here for a moment.
There goes a garbage can.
Did you leave it by the road?
Yep, and I saw it fall down.
Well, it's your fault if somebody hits it. You know that, right?
Well, it's in my driveway.
Wow, man, look at that road wrapping up right there. Right over top of Euclid Road, where that's happening at this instant here. Kind of this little inflow notch. I don't know if it's going to get all the way where it produces a tornado, but it's trying really hard. And so that's the strong wind kind of pushing up there. That's what you're seeing from left to right. This camera points back toward the west. And so swirling winds there on the porch related to that at Maynardtown, USA. I don't usually sit on one of our home cameras, but it's right in the area of greatest likelihood to see a tornado in the entire viewing area. So we're going to stick with it here for a minute. At least you still have power. The rain's starting to hit. Strong wind gusts coming across and near nonstop lightning, and there went power. Nope, it's back. That's impressive. Okay, but I don't see a tornado on that at this moment, but you can see the times there on your screen. I am going to have to move the storm track so more people at home can see it. So I'm going to move it there. So again, Baldwin at 9:06. I'm going to settle on a place to put it here in a second. Baldwin Elementary School 9:07. Pratt's at 9:07. This is a potential tornado trying to form. I cannot confirm debris at this moment, but in saying that, our correlation coefficient where we would typically see it here does have a little bit of a lowering to it, a little bit more light blue showing up. I'm going to put it on the most sensitive mode here to double check. And then right there, yeah, County Road 6, is that 681, 683, 683, and Euclid Road, where I do show just a little bit of a change in color there. Back in the precipitation, back where the wind is. That could potentially be trying to produce a tornado there at this moment. So I hope folks in advance are in that tornado safe place. Lowest floor of a sturdy structure, a small windowless room where we can wrap up in blankets, pillows, put on a helmet to protect ourselves from debris, and stay there till we can give you the all clear. I'm going to advance this just a little bit more here. And again, updated time, we show Guntown about 9:01. I did change the angle a little bit, and that removed Baldwin from the track. I would still say in Baldwin we have to be in that tornado safe place as well, because I would say also on this line, again, there's a couple spots here where that's still the case. So I'm being a little more precise than we should be. Well, Gabe, I think you made it through at your house there. So I think you're okay there. So I'm going to take that down. It's back in the precipitation mode, or precipitation part of this here. So Guntown, Chapelville, Baldwin, Hobo Station, Marietta. We've had 2 great shots at this, and neither shot could I confirm it. All honesty, could be wrapped in rain, and we wouldn't be able to confirm it either way. So we got to admit that that is a possibility on this. But let's get kind of a longer track on that, and we're going to look at the other storms here. So the longer track, that's still our most likely storm to be producing a tornado at this instant. That's why we're in so close on one storm, is because out of all of our thunderstorms, that's the most likely one at the moment. It's a very wide track because I have a little few too many people in this, but I'd rather too many too few. Wheeler was show at 9:14. We're looking Hobo Station 9:19, new site 9:23, altitude 9:27 there, Burton 9:31, Payton 9:37, Holcut 9:39, Burnsville at 9:46, Iuka 9:50, and Marjoram at 9:55. Doppler radar indicated rotation there, and I mean that's a pretty impressive return. Just south of Blair, just east of Guntown. This is 348. This is 45. Going to be crossing 45 within about the next 2.5 minutes or so. We should have a new scan coming in just the next couple of moments. There we are, right over top of 45, the 45 and 348 interchange there at Guntown. Woodland Hills subdivision, Gun Club Road, all kind of in this area, the Speedway over there as well, kind of in the path of where this circulation is on the zoomed in view there. So hopefully those folks are in their tornado safe place. Let's go wide here. Let's make sure there's not something else we're missing again. And in saying that, it's going to take us a minute here for this to populate, but I think it's worth us doing so to pop in here rainfall. And that's not up to date yet. We'll have to see if that gets up to date, because I think we've had very significant rainfall amounts, and flooding rainfall potential is continuing to increase as well, because unfortunately I think we have those two threats overlapping. Most of the purple you see back up here, all the purple, I'm pull off the radar for just a second to show this to you. That's why they're calling me back, because I refuse to answer it at the moment. But all this purple, these are all flash flood warnings because of how slow this system has been. Massive flash flood, emergency type situations going on back toward the Memphis area. Our flash flooding issues just beginning. As we talked about on Facebook Live and other places, flooding rainfall amounts in excess of 8 inches possible before we're all said and done with this. So unfortunately, that is another factor that we have to kind of monitor in this whole thing. Now, our WTVA studio is about to emerge from this first thunderstorm, and then we'll have a view of this second one here, which has had some broad rotation back toward TCPS. That is not tight enough to produce a tornado, not necessarily in the right spot to do so as well. So we'll monitor that, but I think it's a little bit behind the outflow. There might be a spot where we can still get in. I think our outflow rain-cooled air is right there. So I think it's probably too far back. But Guntown, it's not. Hence the reason we're in so close on you is because at this moment here, as of 9:02, you're one of the most likely locations to possibly see this produce a tornado tonight. Is just now east of Guntown near Bryce Street, Ford Avenue, just south of County Road 277. There's Pratt's, and this is moving toward Pratt's at this point in time. There's probably some hail on the north side here. Have not had a lot of confirmation on hail size. But definitely watching that potential that this could be trying to produce something there as it moves toward Pratt's and County Road 5411 on the path. Marietta, Hobo Station also in the path of this rotating thunderstorm. So let's get a storm track on that again for some of those locations. And this is the story of this week has been, if you've been in the zone, you've been in the zone, and we still have you in the zone, unfortunately. Tornado potential out of this still kind of tracking toward Marietta at 916, Pratt's 908, Tenneloo Church on the east side of Guntown there now, pretty much. Hobo Station at 918, new site at 921, Burton 929, Tishomingo at 935, and Forest Grove School at about 939 as it moves toward the northeast. Let's look at the northern part here of the line. So I do believe we still have some potential that this one up toward Booneville could have a little rotation. I think it's still pretty broad. That's nothing that I'm overly concerned with at this point. So I think we're okay there. And then let's look back west toward Coffeyville and Water Valley, where we previously had storms that looked like they might have produced brief tornadoes and at least some spotty wind damage earlier. You know, down here south of Taylor, I need to look at some observations because I don't know that back in this rain-cooled air that it's as possible, but this has been such a weird setup this week that, you know, I don't really want to rule things out. We'll get you some storm tracks on that just in case. Moving northeast about 45 miles per hour there. Taylor, we're looking at 909. Altus at 925. Denmark at 928. Of course, we know there's some folks that are out there closer to the Denmark area still trying to clean up some tree debris, things that were covering roads earlier on. So definitely watching that closely. Takapola 938. Buchanan 948. Ecru about 955. Let's go ahead and bring in our meteorologist, Gabe Maynard. Gabe, what you got?
Well, let me pull it up here real quick. One thing I want to check first is power outages, because did we ever confirm a tornado up in Tishomingo County?
The folks with the MHP did report that a tornado. So yes.
Well,
I don't know if we've reported. We've got confirmed damage. But go ahead.
Do you want confirmed evidence?
No, but if you've got it, we'll see it.
Well, let's pull up power outages. Go ahead and pull it up right here. We're talking about nearly 1,300 outages up in the Tishomingo County area. I don't think this is updating as of right now, but it was showing earlier. Well, I can get it right here. 1,500 actually. 1,521 outages up in Tishomingo County where that initial rotation went on through. I got people telling me that Iuka was without power, so that's probably where it was around where that rotation went through. And I'm working to pull up here in a moment. Matt, I might have to give this back to you, but I do have a picture of the rotation that went through Saltillo and it never touched the ground, but man, it looked interesting.
Okay, well, we will look forward to seeing that here in a minute.
I'll